Good afternoon and welcome to the Africa Farmout session. If we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Farmout Angel and I'll be your MC in this session this afternoon. A few key things to remember just to ensure that we have the best session available is please kindly remember to put your mobile devices on silent. We'd love to engage with you, so please do tag us on all social media platforms using our tags AEW25 and Africa Energy Week. Our final session is the African Farmout Forum, which is held in partnership with Moyes Co, Farmout Angel Envoi. Please help me with a round of applause to Soma and our sponsors. This forum showcases available blocks and acreage across the continent and offers all companies and investors a strategic opportunity for first-hand insight into current farmout deals in Africa's oil and gas industry. To kick us off and give our introductory remarks, please help me welcome Mike and Matt.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome to the African Farmout Forum. Sorry. My name is Matt Tyrrell from Farmout Angel. I'm here with my friends Mike Lakin from Envoi and Chris Moyes from Moyes Co. This is the African Farmout Forum. We have 25 farmout pitches for you today. They are 5 minutes each, and can I ask each of the presenters to please stick to their 5 minutes as closely as possible. 25 farmouts, 23 of them in Africa, one from Pakistan and one from Australia, just to spice things up a little bit. We have a booth outside, an African Farmout Forum booth, and we also have a wall of farmouts. So each of the 25 deals presented today has a A3 poster, which is up on the wall of farmouts, and you're welcome to come and look at those and use that as a meeting point to meet with any of the oil companies or presenters today. So a quick introduction to the 3 companies who host this, starting with Farmout Angel. So I'm with Farmout Angel. This is a free-to-use farmout comparison website platform. We have approximately 350 farmouts listed. It's all based on public information, scouting information, and you can screen farmouts and search for farmouts based on different search criteria. So if you're looking for a frontier exploration, a production play, you can search and list for different types of farmouts. We also, on LinkedIn, run a Farmout of the Week where we promote a specific farmout. We've been promoting the CGIP blocks in Chad, which you're going to hear a little bit more about here today. And we also promote license rounds. We promoted the Nigeria license round, the Egypt license round, and we're promoting the Cameroon bid round at the moment. We run promotional videos on farmouts, and we also have booths at conferences, and you can see the Egypt booth there. So the base of Farmout Angel is free to use, and oil companies, people can list information and promote stuff. There's no charge for it. Feel you're welcome to come and speak to me and promote whatever you have. Mike.
Thank you, Matt, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's tremendous that we've managed to arrange this at the beginning of the AEW event, so that through the week, if you're tickled by any of the farmouts you're going to see in the presentations today, you can then hopefully go and find people to have a conversation. And obviously the place to do that is on the AFF booth that we've just heard about in the exhibition. I'm not free because I'm an advisor as opposed to a listing service, but we work extremely well together. So companies may use the Farmout Angel to list deals that they're marketing, but may invite Envoi, that stands for Energy Venture Opportunities International. We are an envoy for our clients. I've been doing this for over 40 years. And basically, with projects we currently have around the world, onshore UK, Germany, we're going to present on behalf of one of our clients, South Africa, in due course. We have projects in, can't actually see the screen here. Here on the screen, we have a project that we successfully marketed for, thank you, Matt, yes, Jamaica is what I was thinking of. So we have frontier projects, we have some small production onshore UK, but in effect, we are an envoy for our clients. So if you're looking for deals, you can go to our website. All the information on there is free, and we pride ourselves in climbing into the deals that we're asked to market rather than just listing them, understanding those deals and hopefully marketing them in a way that you can very quickly get the information you need to say yes or no, I'd like to go further. So if anyone is interested in diving into what we're doing, you don't even need to come and find me, you can just go to our website. But I will see you in a bit on presentations that I'm doing for South Africa coming up, and I'm also making a small pitch to assist the SPA, Somalian Petroleum Authority in Somalia, which is very much open for business. Thank you.
Round of applause for Matt and Mike.
I'm Chris Moyes. Like my colleagues Mike Lakin and Matt, delighted to be here. We saw many of you last year. We are M&A advisory, technical and commercial. I do a lot of contract work. Since we also represent private equity, we have a pool of approximately 500 or 600 million at the moment to invest. So as you would understand, the buy side is very much in the stronger element these days. So our work is technical, and then we do a lot of contract service. So we do quite a lot of expert witness. I'm on the back end this year of 3 major testimonies, over $106 billion in dispute, half of which has been ruled on. Let's see if we can get to the next slide. We have a trade opportunity database. We keep it up to date. And we also keep a list very accurate of who's involved in trade deals and who and what they like to buy. Our current mandates are listed. This is not our buy side, this is the sell side. See if there's another slide there. No, we're on to the next one. So that's our business. We work with Mike, we work with Matt, have done for a number of decades actually. And we're here at the booth, happy to talk about what we do and what you're interested in selling or financing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Apologies, you were missing a slide there, were you? No? Oh. Okay, go on quickly.
We're going to pass the hat round today. If you'd like to put your business card in, there is a prize. I went to the Apus store this morning. So if you're here at 5 o'clock, and we'll have someone take the card out, and if you're here, you get the Apple prize.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So we have 25 presentations today. We're going to rattle through these as quickly as possible. To start, I'd like to welcome our sponsor onto the stage, which is Soma Oil and Gas. So we have Sammy here, and I'd like to extend my warm thanks to Soma for sponsoring the Farmout Forum. Thank you.
A round of applause for Soma.
Thank you, Matt, for that kind introduction. My name is Sammy. I'm one of the co-founders of Soma Oil and Gas. I'm honored to be here today to open the Farmout Forum and kick off the African Energy Week. I want to thank everyone for being here on day 0. You took the time today to join us and to listen to our presentations. That means a lot. Please take, oh, there's no slides, sorry. Yeah, no? Sorry, we have some slide issues. Ten minutes? Okay.
What we're going to do, they're going to sort it out now.
Sure.
We'll rattle on. As soon as they've fixed it, we'll come back to you.
Fantastic.
Do you want to go and
I'll
sort
fix
them
it
out? You
myself.
can sort them out. Apologies, it's an iPad issue. Apologies. So we're going to rattle on now. So we're going to launch straight in with Eco Oil and Gas. We have Eco here with us today. Perfect. Thank you very much. Jamie. So left and right. Okay.
Okay.
Hi everybody, my name is James White. I'm a geophysicist for Eco Oil and Gas, and today I'm going to talk to you about Namibia and South Africa with a focus on the Orange Basin. So for those of you who are old enough to remember, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a very good telecommunications media campaign by Orange, and they had a slogan, "The future's bright, the future's orange." So as we're here in South Africa, the future's bright, the future's the Orange Basin. Now, the Orange company is no longer in existence. It merged with T-Mobile, and Eco are looking to do something similar by divesting some of their equity and getting a bigger company involved here too. Okay, so that's just a disclaimer for Orange. Okay, so this is Eco's assets in Namibia and South Africa. Starting in the north, we've got some licenses in the Walvis Basin, the Cooper, the Guy, and the Tamar license. And then as we move further south into South Africa, we've got 3B, 4B, which has now been farmed down to Total, and Block 1 is the latest block we've acquired offshore South Africa, and that's going to be the focus of these next few slides. Now, one thing that's clear to us as we've been looking at the data around Namibia and South Africa is that the geology is quite similar in the Orange Basin and the Walvis Basin. So although I'm going to focus now on the Orange, it's worth keeping in mind that the Walvis Basin also has very similar stratigraphy, and we're seeing very similar clay types there as well, and you'll see an example of that on the poster outside. But the Block 1 block is this pizza slice block that you can see in the triangle there. It goes from the shoreline out to 900 meters. It has a variety of different depositional settings in the Cretaceous, from fluvial deltaic out to deepwater clastics. There's 3 wells drilled in the block. They were drilled in 1987 by Sucor. It's preceded now by Petro SA. They were the South African national oil company. 1 well found oil and gas shows. The other was a small gas discovery. It tested 32 million scuffs per day. And currently, Eco have 75%, and then has a local BEE partner, Tosako, there as well. We're currently in phase 1 of exploration, so it's very minimal work commitment. It's a 3-year period starting in February, and there's no seismic or drilling commitments for this phase, so it's a low-cost entry from a work program perspective. The geology goes from the Tertiary down to the Cretaceous, and we're seeing similar features that you've seen elsewhere in the Namibian side of the Orange Basin. We're seeing lots of turbidites, basin floor fans, but also a lot of structure in the block as well. Just zooming in on the block now, you can see that it's quite a large block. It's approximately 20,000 square kilometers. You can see how close proximity it is to some of the existing discoveries on the Namibian side. And of course, we know the geology doesn't stop at a national border. It's actually separated South Africa and Namibia by the Orange River, and that's switched over and back over in time and deposited a huge amount of sediment into this area. So in Block 1, given that it's such a large block, we're seeing both oil and gas prospectivity here. The centre of the block has got quite a lot of sedimentation through it. We're seeing some gas there. It's on trend with Kudu in the north and Ibibese to the south. And then as we move out towards the tip of the pizza slice there, we're seeing an oil play similar to the discoveries that's already been made in Namibia. Just zooming in now into the prospectivity of the block. And as you can see, we've got some large gas prospects there. We've got an AZ prospect, which is about 2 TCF. It looks very like Kudu for anybody who's ever seen what that looks like. It's a beryllium-aged reservoir. And then on the outboard end, we've got a number of prospects there. The Alwyn cluster having over 1 billion barrels potential, and then the Marigold prospect as well. And we're continuously evaluating this and progressing this as we go on. This is a cross-section of Block 1, and the geology here is quite complex. You'll see a seismic line just after this, but we're seeing a variety of different play types here. There's 3 different source rocks here. There's the beryllium source rock, which is charging the Kudu gas field. There's the Kudu shale, which has been so prolific in the Namibian side. That's an oil-prone Aptian source rock. And then there's also the Cenomanian Turonian source rock here, which in other parts of the Orange Basin is immature, but given the deposition here in the centre of the block, it becomes oil mature within this block. We're seeing a variety of different reservoirs. They've been proven, the Albion play has been proven already by the wells on the block. That's a fluvial deltaic play, which they found the gas in. And then as we move outboard into the deep water, we're seeing some turbidites, which have some very nice amplitudes and associated structure with them as well. So there's a bit for everybody within this block. There's oil, there's gas, there's strat traps, there's structure. So it's a very prospective looking block. And this is a seismic line here of the Alwyn turbidite play. So you can see these high amplitude events and channelized features on the seismic. You can see on the map on the right-hand side, there's an isopac thickness map. It gets up to 400 meters thick in the center of this. And you can see some of the structures that it's both onlapping and going over the top of. So there's a mixture of a structural and stratigraphic play here. You can see on the bottom right-hand corner, Venus from some open published data by TGS. And what that is this turbidite onlapping onto a high, and we're seeing something very similar here. Now, it's early days yet for us with the evaluation, but we're very excited with what we see. There's up to 60% working interest available, and if you want to know more, please come and see me at the poster outside. Thanks.
Jamie, thank you very much. Chris? Jamie, did me standing behind you encourage you to finish? Thank you. So we have Chris Johnson now from Meren. Chris, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Chris Johnson from Meren. So I'm going to be presenting the EG opportunities. So we have two licenses we'll quickly run through today, EG31 and EG18, and I'll get to these. Meren have 80% equity in both blocks, and our partners are GE Patrol. So starting with EG31, that's the permit in the north, located next to the Bioko Island. It's a rich gas condensate play, the Asongo Formation, and there's 3 discoveries on block. So we have an appraisal opportunity with multi-TCF exploration upside. This is a shallow water block, so jack-up territory, 30-day wells, expected cost somewhere in the region of 35 to 42 million. And, yep. And then moving on to EG18, so we believe EG18 to be the sweet spot for an emerging Upper Cretaceous turbidite play. The petroleum system is working, and I'll go through that today. So we believe it will be oil, not gas, importantly. The reservoir quality in both blocks, I'll just say, is good, excellent in EG18. So we see multi-Darcy permeability in nearby wells. In the Cretaceous, that's the best I've ever seen in West Africa. So both blocks are covered by 3D seismic, legacy 3D seismic that we've used to unlock the reservoir story, and I'll again cover that today. One good thing about EG18, it's deep water, about 3 kilometers below mudline, but the well cost isn't significant. It should be relatively low cost and quick drilling. The nearest offset L2 was drilled in about 14 days from spud to top reservoir in a Cretaceous target. And critically, for EG18, one well could target 3 different prospects. So they are stacked up, which is nice, and these are some of the biggest basin floor fans I've worked in my career, so very big systems. One of them is about 40 kilometers long from the pinch out to the potential DHI. So quickly moving on to EG31, we are proximal to the Alba gas field, and the plays at Alba continue down further south into our block. 85% of the wells have found gas, so it's a very good area to go exploring. And we have spent a lot of time working on depth, so working out exactly where the structures are and imaging the turbidite systems. So the forward plan for this block would be an appraisal well of an existing discovery and also to target some multi-TCF deep upside. So reservoir story. When we entered the block, we couldn't see the reservoirs, so we've done some more advanced geophysics, and now we can see the geobodies on the image. We can actually image the basin floor fans for the first time. These extend across the acreage. Deep ones, these haven't been drilled yet. And we then have the continuation of the Alba field, which would be the yellow one I've just put on. So this actually thickens into EG31. So EG31 is probably the sweet spot for the deposition of these basin floor fans. And we have a number of other basin floor fans as well. The Upper Osongo Whistler fan just popped on, and I've got an example of one of these, so the spectral decomposition image. You can see a lovely long channel that's been drilled, DST'd gas to surface from the East Lubrant Albert 18 well. And we'll target the basin floor fan that's below the 9A1X discovery in our block. And that's just another, that's the Whistler fan. So that's EJ31, what I can cover today. And then moving on to EJ18. So again, deep water turbidites. These are in deep water, but I mentioned it's quite quick drilling. L2 is just to the east of the block. Excellent reservoir quality, multi-Darcy permeability in that Campanian sand that they penetrated. And we'll target the fans down dip. The petroleum system seems to be working. Oil field up dip, and Jacka-1 demonstrated live oil in the Campanian section, and our basin modeling supports this. The kitchen's actually below EG18 and to the west. So immature source rock at Jacka, but it matures to the north, just to the west of our permit. So the AVO story, we have AVO for our main prospect. So on the near stack, there's no it's just a normal seismic line, no brightening for hydrocarbons. But when you look at the far stack, we have that one bright event there, and that is our Jasper prospect. So type 2 to 3 AVO class. And this is the map for that type 3 AVO class prospect, Jasper. So you can see a lovely feeder channel feeding a basin floor fan. And this one is the 40-kilometer long one from the pinch out in the middle of the section of pinch out on the middle of the map down through the fan. So as well as being able to drill this prospect with one well, we can also target the deeper section. So about 1 extra day's drilling, we could penetrate this and gather information. The AVO is different, but that makes sense as you go deeper in the section, loss of porosity and compaction. And we also have a superb tertiary target. So the tertiary hasn't worked in this West Africa region, but we have giant basin floor fan, lovely feeder channel you can see, and then 2 little fans there. These are multi-billion barrel opportunities again. But this one's a bit different. It actually has a very strong AVO because I guess it's a lot shallower. So we can see on the seismic line, just one example of where we'd see a potential flat spot. You see the high reflectivity package, that would be the basin floor fan, and there's a very nice flat DHI there. So that brings me to the end. So in summary, Meren have 2 high-quality projects, drill-ready opportunities. The technical work's pretty much complete, so if you have any questions, please see me afterwards. And we're looking to farm down our significant equity. We have 80% in these 2 projects, and drill in 2026 to 2027. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. Chris presented it last year, and I managed to delete his slides 5 minutes before his presentation, so I'm very, very pleased that everything went smoothly today. Thank you. Akata.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Seun Olakotun from Akata Energy, Nigeria. I will be talking about our opportunity. It's 100% owned. It was just awarded to us some couple of years ago, and it's in the first year of operation. So where is Akata? So Akata is from OML 95, previously worked on by Chevron. The first discovery was around 1968, and there was another one, the Mine 2, that was discovered 1986. Presently, we've been able to have data put together and do a proper evaluation. We are looking around the 22 million STOIP in place, and when we look at the ultimate production, we are looking around 9 million barrels. You want to talk about the opportunity itself. Akata Energy is 100% owned, so we have flexibility for guys to come in, whether through service providing or finance or debt. Decision making is pretty quick also. In terms of what needs to be done, it's a shallow asset, around 12 to 15 meters depth, and close to export terminals, Parabe, Mina, owned by Chevron. And in terms of investment, it's low cost because we'll just be doing more of 1 or 2 wells, and that should kickstart us with almost 4,000 barrels a day production and be able to ramp up within a couple of years to 9,000 barrels a day production. I'll be very much available all through the section, and I'll be able to give more in-depth, both technically, finance, and the way the company is structured. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, Matt. I'm here on behalf of Tower Resources, who have a license with New Age, who's the operator. It's a bit interesting to stand up and talk for Tower as the partner, but they are jointly looking for investment in a very interesting block in offshore South Africa, the Algoa Gamtus block. A fair bit of work's been done on this, and in fact, as a marketeer, I can tell you that we've had more CAs signed on this to look at this technically, and it's really been the above ground risk until now that's held this license back. Some of you will know that the petroleum law, I think, has been passed but hasn't been enacted, and 1 or 2 elements of the petroleum law are still very much in process. But technically, this is a really interesting block, and therefore I just want, in the next 4 minutes, just highlight a couple of elements of it. There are 3 parts of this block. You've got the shallow water, Algoa and Gamtus block. The Algoa block on the right has 3D and questionably has a discovery that you can get up dip from to participate in this, but it's modest in size. For me as a geologist, and I know as the group, the main prospectivity that they're looking for in terms of a new 3D is in the Gamtus block, in the shallow water, and the deeper water as an extension to the Atanika play that was discovered by Total with Brulpada and Leopard. And yes, I know that they've left that block because of the huge problem of operating in such deep water in the environment they have. I understood at one point when they put the riser in, they had to launch it from 10 kilometers out to deal with the currents. They do not have the problem in this block, but you have similar prospectivity. So there are the post-rift channel play in the Algoa. We'll talk briefly about the syn-rift play, and then the post-rift, which is analogous and up dip in a much quieter environment to the big discoveries found down to the southeast. The obligations is a seismic opportunity, so it's certainly a seismic option where you would then have an opportunity after the seismic to participate in the well if you wanted to, and it's somewhat flexible. There's no end to this license currently because of what's going on with the above ground risk. And the group have committed to the next phase, but they've got to shoot the seismic to do that. We're talking about probably $7 million to shoot an area of 3D. And you can shoot that in the Gamtus block or the deeper water post-rift. So there's a choice. You don't have to shoot both. And really the geology links to the post and the syn-rift. Here are the potential targets down in the Meso-Cretaceous and the top part of the Jurassic. And I think to describe in the few minutes I have the Gamtus block is not a standard rift. The early wells drilled 20 years ago were on the edge of the rift where you think sediments are coming in. They didn't really find the sediments. A couple of wells drilled in the central part of the basin showed that the axial part of the basin is where most of the sediments have come from the uplifted Alps to the north. So it's a slightly different rift. And there are 3-way dip closures, really quite sizable prospects that have yet to be drilled. So really in the block, if you work from east to west, you have the shallow Gamtus with syn-rift, and then you have the deeper water post-rift. Here's the 3D in the Algoa. Gamtus and Atanika is where we're hoping to bring a partner in to shoot 3D. Here's the prospects that they've defined on the existing 2D data that has been reprocessed. So Rowan, Roebuck, and Steenbok are the principal and largest of the prospects with the outer deep water Albion play. And if we look at that in terms of the seismic, a bunch of reprocessing was achieved stacking up potential reservoirs within these blocks. So whether it's the Gamtus or whether it's the deeper water, there is stacked pay potential. So the prospectivity is very, very economic in terms of hundreds of millions of barrels and has made this, with the fiscal regime that would be in place, highly commercial. So as I say, this has attracted a lot of interest. If it's something that you see further out could fit into your portfolio, do come and see us. There's an excellent data room in this. Whether you shoot the 3D in the Gamtus, looking for the Syn Rift, or whether you target the deeper water in the Post Rift, that's up to your interest. But the group is happy to talk to anyone who's interested in looking at this block. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to welcome to the stage Mr. Nguema, who's the Exploration Director from Cameroon. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's forward to backwards. Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pons Nguema, Exploration Manager of the National Hydrocarbons Corporation. I'm delighted to be here today to present some slides because Cameroon is entering a new licensing round to promote 9 free blocks. So, the Cameroon bid round was launched in August this year and is concentrated in 6 blocks in Douala-Kribi-Campo Basin and 3 blocks on the Rio de Rey Basin. The Rio de Rey Basin is the eastern extension of Niger Delta, which is a very huge, prolific basin in West Africa. And Douala-Kribi-Campo Basin also is a producing basin, prolific, with producing fields in neighborhood. So the timeline of the licensing round was launched in August 2025. The bid is due in March 30, next March 2026, and the award will be done in April 2026. As far as the data is concerned, we have a full bunch of available data, 2D, 3D seismic available on the 2 basins, and a lot of wells which have been drilled. Some are producing in producing fields, and a lot of identified prospects and leads available too. On the map, you see the location of the prospectivity of the Douala-Kribi-Campo Basin, where we have producing fields, non-undeveloped fields like the Yolanda field, which is straddling free with EG, is currently under the development process. And other fields developed in EG, not developed in Cameroon size in the 10-day exploration permit, with a lot of wells drilled which identify hydrocarbons, liquid and gas and condensate. On the Rio de Rey Basin, we have the onshore basins, Diane River, and Bakassi block, which are mostly tertiary and upper Cretaceous prolific. The upper Cretaceous is prolific in far West Africa with the Jubilee field in Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana. This play has not been yet encountered in the Douala-Kribi, in the Rio de Rey Basin, and some wells have been drilled targeting the deltaic in the tertiary with hydrocarbons discoveries. And the Bolongo block is surrounded by producing wells with a lot of tertiary plays, Izongo subtoitros plays, which are also prolific in the downwards, e.g. with Alba field and Zafiro in the Pliocene plays. So the offshore in Douala-Kribi-Campo, the blocks are relatively big, with the tilapia blocks, which has a discovery on the Coco Marine 1 and 2 wells, with light oil on the Oligocene, on the Pliocene. And the Ntem block is over 2,600 square kilometers. It's a deep offshore block with 1 well drilled in the year 2012, and encountered a big fan, but without any trap encountered. And the location of the well was issued where new further exploration is encouraged to further proceed with the prospectivity and the trapping mechanism. The Elombo block has encountered some hydrocarbons in 2 wells drilled on the slope with a lot of feeder fence and channel place, where we think we can go further down deep and to the north to further chase further subsalt and around salt dome, because the salt, the Apsian salt, is available on the area. And the little concession is to the east with the Ebome, which is producing oil, so we don't have any issue with the prolific and the petroleum system. The Tilapia block itself has a field which is ready to be developed, and further prospect has been discovered in this area, identified through 3D seismic data, which has been enhanced, reprocessed by our partner Viridian CGG, who did the pre-stack depth migrated over all the basin, and the data is available over their area, their office in London, UK. And the 18-day exploration block is just up deep of the field producing Alen in EG. That means the feeder system is from the Cameroon side. We believe all the wells drilled in that area with the Sapele systems have encountered many hydrocarbons bearing reservoirs. Onshore blocks with the Bomono and Kombesepe have also a lot of discoveries, but this commerciality has been yet not did not permit the development, further development. So we envisage to acquire new seismic data. So all those blocks are available for promotion. And in conclusion, we can say that Cameroon has proven oil and gas petroleum system in the Rio de Re Basin and Douala Kribi Campo. All the sources are for Paleocene, Pliocene, and Oligocene system. Reservoirs are very huge and deep deposited. And seismic data and all the systems are available through our partners and also at our office for evaluation through the data room and showroom, which we are going to organize in the very near future during this licensing round. So we thank you for your kind attention.
That was 4 minutes and 55 seconds exactly. Perfect timing. It's a great honour to have Cameroon here with us for the Farmout Forum. So we're going to jump back now to our sponsor, Soma, and see if that presentation works.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. So similar to our company, we made a comeback. Now, let's see if oh wow. Okay, please take a quick picture of this for your compliance. I don't want them to be mad at you. We are honored to be a sponsor of this year's event. Let me start by saying thank you to my brother NJ and his incredible team. Thank you for hosting us. He built this forum and a community, a place where we can make deals, talk shop, and bring Africa online one country at a time. And yes, I'll admit it, I'm a little bit biased. I hope Somalia is next in line. Last year was a great success for us. Because of African Energy Week, we were able to pitch to a super major and invite them into our data room, and even got a verbal commitment from a GCC investor. So here's my recommendation to every small independent. Try to squeeze your budget, come to the African Energy Week, and put yourself out there, and most important, have fun. So I hope many of you will be joining us in this year's activity day that NJ is organizing for us. Last year, in the spirit of true adventurers, we went to the Cape of Good Hope. Then we went to see the penguins, and of course, we had to push start our bus to get back home. I know we're running short on time, so I try to make it fast. We at Soma have 2 blocks, offshore Somalia, Block 129 and 130 in the so-called Mid-Somalia High Basin, and Block 192 in the Mogadishu Deep, together 10,000 square kilometers, big acreage. Over at RPS, much smarter people than me, they estimated that in our 2 PSAs, we are looking at about 21 billion barrels of oil and gas. And when you break it down, Block 129 holds a little over 4.6 billion recoverable barrels, and Block 192, 2.3 billion barrels. So massive numbers, and somebody needs to drill that. In 2014, right in the middle of the Civil War, my friend and co-founder Basil Shiblak went to Somalia and commissioned 20,000 line kilometers of 2D seismic with a company which is known today as TGS. A decade later now, new investors have the confidence to explore Somalia. Aquila Coastline, TPAO, and Liberty Petroleum are now Soma's neighbors. Today I'm proud to announce a new big piece of data, a one-of-a-kind seep study from our friend Clement Blazo, covering 415,000 square kilometers of Somalia's offshore, and we're talking here 710 oil seeps, 76 seeps in the mid-Somalia High and 17 seeps in the Mogadishu Deep. We believe it's a direct evidence of a working petroleum system, and the data set is exclusively available at Soma. Now, Somalia has not only a great potential for hydrocarbons, it is also a great place to do business. Under the leadership of Hassan Sheikh, the team of Minister Daher Mohammed, Director General, my friend Arabe Hashi, and of course, Abdul Qadir from the Somali Petroleum Authority, they are doing an outstanding job to keep the investors confident and solving problems. They get things done, but most important, for a fantastic deal, a state take of only 15%, which should be one of the lowest in the world. And no, I will not show you any movie quotes about the above-ground risk. Somalia has become a whole lot safer. The US and the EU are providing training and building the capability for Somalia to defend and govern itself. Because President Hassan Sheikh is bringing himself to fight to where it matters. He severely decimated Al-Shabaab, erased piracy with the help of international partners, and one of them is in the room. Somalia deserves an image change, a rebrand, and Soma is on the forefront of making that happen. When you think about Somalia, I want you to think about a limitless Somalia, a Somalia which reinvented itself and is on the way on becoming an oil-producing nation. Just like the incredible India campaign changed minds, we say limitless Somalia. But before we go into more detail, does anyone know what this is? No? Okay. It's a zebra. So I'm clearly not the right guy to explain you technical details and gray squiggles, but for this we have a team of experts. We can accommodate today qualifying interesting party in our physical data room in Houston, London, or Abu Dhabi. And it's safe to say we have the best and most quality data of Somalia to date in a well-organized virtual data room, sponsored and powered by Ansarada. And thank Ari is here also. So, and since we have to eventually make a deal, I offer an Africa Energy special of up to 70% equity of Soma Oil and Gas for anyone who is interested. Now, if I could ask you for a favor, take out your phones and take a picture of the slide. You can contact me directly on WhatsApp or find me on the Farmout booth. And they have done a fantastic job organizing today's event. So good luck to everyone, and let's make some deals happen. Thank you.
Sammy, thank you very much. Okay, so we can launch into session 4, please. Oh, perfect, there we are. Okay, the next Farmout deal is in Benin. We have Miss Blondine Biao somewhere today at the conference. So if you want to speak with her about opportunities in Benin, you can come back to me. Oh, hello. You can come back to me and I can introduce her to you. Perfect. So she's sitting over here. Okay, so this opportunity in offshore Benin is in Block 2 in a field called Binonkpo. So back in 2014, Hunt drilled a well on what they thought was a shelf edge play. They had a depth conversion of a 3D seismic data set, but the depth conversion was done without any well data. And they drilled what they believed was a shelf edge play. They found carbonate sands, but the well was dry. Subsequent to that, TGS have re-depth processed the 3D data set, and what you can see in this image is that the shelf edge play has shifted and is not where the well was drilled. So if you were to go back and re-drill this well, sitting further outboard, it's quite likely you would find the oil field that Hunt was targeting. This sketch map gives you an idea of the depositional systems which are creating this carbonate shelf edge, and you can see from here how the placement of your well is critical to finding the reservoirs. Put the well in slightly the wrong place because your depth conversion is out and you're going to miss the reservoir. And these two maps here show you a plan view of that shelf edge play. One of these is an acoustic impedance inferring reservoir quality. One of them is an AVO amplitude map inferring potential hydrocarbons. And again, you can see that well is located outside the field, outside the prospectivity, just to the north of it. So our belief is if you were to come back, re-drill this well, you would probably find the field that Hunt were targeting, and a super major oil company who has worked on this has indicated to me there's 216 million barrels in place in this field, ready to be drilled in shallow water. Okay, short and sweet. Apus.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Artem Ravi. I'm exploration manager in Apus Energy. Apus Energy is actually Dubai-based upstream oil and gas company. We are new here and we just founded in May 2023, but with strategic focus on Africa, of course. And today I will speak on behalf of Apus Energy and our valuable Guinea-Bissau partners, Petroguin. I would like to present this rare and high-impact opportunity to join our next exploration step to open the new page of MSGBC basin history. Okay. Actually, in October 2023, Apus Energy assumed operationship rights for Sinapa and Esperanza licenses offshore Guinea-Bissau. Both licenses comprise 3 blocks and with total area of about 5,000 square kilometers. Yeah. And actually, since 1996, a total of 9 exploration wells were drilled in shallow part of shelf with proven light oil discovery Sinapa drilled in 2004. But in 2024, actually after 1 year after our established, Apus Energy drill and long-waiting Atom 1X well. It's actually first ever deep water well offshore Guinea-Bissau, with results that's called strategic significance for guiding future exploration effort in the region. As a result of our comprehensive post-well analysis, we mapped 6 late Albian and 3 early Aptian prospects with a total STOIIP of up to 4,700 million barrels. And we are ready to offer to alleged partners through acquisition of up to 30% shares in both of our license. Yeah. Actually, this is an excellent opportunity to prove late Albian clastic reservoir presence and unlock petroleum potential for true frontier Aptian carbonate build-ups play. It's a completely new play. Following success delivery of Atom 1X well in October 2024, Apus Energy has conducted comprehensive post-well analysis utilizing unique and fit-to-purpose competence of global service providers such as Corelab, Rockwash, and Icon, for example. Yeah, and this methodic workflow allowed us to identify and de-risk the future exploration potential in the area. Despite Atom 1X well not proving the Sangambark-like play in MCGB basin, the wells hydrocarbon fingerprints correlate strongly with Sinapa oil discovery. And there is a proven evidence of working petroleum system here. Quality of Albian reservoir was a key geological risk. Unfortunately, materialized in Atom 1X well. Nevertheless, there is as we know, there is a breach between geological properties and seismic amplitude. This calibration through advanced seismic inversion techniques allow us to map the area with prime reservoir properties distributions. And as you can see on this map, the bright amplitudes area, actually it could be associated with reservoir accumulation of late Albian delta mouth bar. And this anomaly is actually confined with structural closure as well. Both positive and negative indicators and all results combined reveal that late Albian remains it justifies attractive potential to be proven with our second deep water exploration well, Bola Grande, in 2027. Bola Grande well planning has kicked off and progressing through the well delivery process with tentative spot towards the second half of 2027. Bola Grande stands for the big cake in Portuguese, meaning we shall both penetrate multi-geological targets and confirm large commercial volumes of hydrocarbons up to 1,600 million barrels. Bola Grande is planned as a multiple targets deep water well with Aptian carbonates as a primary and late Albion Sestone reservoir as a secondary targets. Actually, Bola Grande is a high risk but high rewards prospect, and I would like to invite all interested parties to contact us via our Apus Energy EA website. Thank you very much for your attention.
Artem, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure meeting you. Okay, the next presentation is from offshore Guinea, SONAP. The delegation from the SONAP ministry are landing later on today. They got a little bit delayed in their travel plans, so I'm going to attempt to give you a summary of this, but if you want more information, please come and speak with me and I can hook you up with them this afternoon or tomorrow when they will be here. So this is offshore Republic of Guinea. And TGS has a large multi-client data library over here. There are 3 conventional 3D surveys and a 3D geostreamer survey, and there's a good database of grav and mag data, well data, and seismic data with interpretation over these blocks. And that is all multi-client data, which is available in data rooms. In terms of the exploration history, there are 3 wells which were drilled. The GU2B1, which found reservoir quality sands, Sabu-1, which was a hyperdynamics well drilled in 2011, which found the presence of oil, and Fatala-1, drilled 2017, which again found good quality sandstone. So although only 3 wells have been drilled, they've found oil and they've found good quality reservoir sandstones. And this is a sediment thickness map from TGS showing those wells, and the 4 stars on those maps are associated with the 4 plays, which I think there are examples of in the coming slides. So this is a Sabu-1 well, which shows the presence of sandstones in a shelf edge play with good quality sandstones with oil shows. And the Fatala well one is on the right, which again found good quality sandstones. And then these are 2 leads within the basin of late Cretaceous clastics. You can see those highlighted. So these are both pinch outs against the shelf edge play. So they're late Cretaceous age pinch outs with amplitude brightening. And then coming into lead 3, again, I guess these are pinch outs in tilted fault blocks sitting within the mid-Cretaceous, so within the Sin Rift sitting in the mid-Cretaceous, again with trapping potential in those Sin Rift fault blocks. And then up on the shelf edge play, the final lead, you can see it's a beautiful shelf edge, Jurassic to early Cretaceous age sands and carbonates in the shelf edge. It's a similar play style to what we saw previously from Guinea-Bissau with Apus. These are shelf edge sands and carbonates. And you can see there are pinch outs sitting underneath the shelf edge as well. Okay, thank you very much. If anybody would like to speak with SONAP, please come and find me. I'll be on the Farmout booth. I can introduce you to them once they get here. Thank you. Okay, Duncan, Chariot.
Great. Thank you, Matt. And a pleasure to be here presenting to you again in Cape Town. So I'm going to talk to you around about Morocco. Now, Morocco is a place where Chariot has been participating in the offshore since around 2012. So we've been there for a significant amount of time, made lots of investments, acquired lots of data. So we feel we've got a very strong understanding of the area, and our current portfolio is shown on the slide. I'm not going to talk you through it all, but it's a diverse portfolio. We have the offshore Onshore gas development project, which we've really been talking around a lot for the last 5 years or so. But behind that, there has really been some exciting exploration opportunities which have been really hidden from view. So that's what I'm going to talk to you around today, which is the offshore exploration potential in the Lixus and Rissana licenses. Now, Morocco is a special place, and this acreage is special. Morocco has pretty much the best fiscal regime on the planet, and this part of Morocco in the northern offshore Atlantic has access to existing gas infrastructure. The GME pipeline, which is very close to this acreage, gives you direct access to markets in Morocco and also the potential to export surplus volumes up into the European market via Spain. So if you find oil, great, you can monetize that, but also if you find gas, it's extremely high value and it's easy to commercialize. We also have a smaller onshore project, but I'm going to talk to you specifically today around the tertiary basin floor fan play shown in pink on the slides. Now, this part of Morocco is unique, and one of the reasons is you're sitting basically where you had the Alpine collision as Africa collided with Europe. You then had the mountain building event of the Rift-Beatic mountain chain, and that's important in terms of petroleum geology because the very well-known Cenomanian-Turonian source rock, which is widely distributed across Morocco, very rich in TOC but largely immature, gets mature in this part of Morocco because it is buried deeply underneath that Alpine Alistostrome or NAP shown on the slide and is responsible for sourcing the thermogenic gas in the Anchois gas discovery shown top right, and is also responsible for the oleonanes, the oils that were sampled from a Jurassic reservoir in the RSD1 well shown on the left-hand side. So underneath the NAP here, we can bury the Cenomanian-Turonian source rock, and it has the potential to be a prolific hydrocarbon generator to feed both post-NAP and pre-NAP reservoir targets that can be both oil and gas bearing. So there's a diversity of plays in the Jurassic, in the tertiary, in structural closures underneath the NAP, but what I'm going to talk to you around today is the post-NAP basin floor fan play shown in pink. So this is an area where we can take the Anchois gas sands, but we can put them into the basin floor setting and get much larger aerial deposits of reservoir and significant multi-TCF scale potential. As I mentioned, we've been working in Morocco on and offshore for a long time, and one of the key things here is actually the reservoir provenance. So the tertiary sands come from the Rift Mountains that were uplifted during the Alpine orogeny. These are Tethyan clastic sediments that were uplifted, so very good quality provenance. That material is then transported across the onshore area of the Rab Basin with channels that we identify in the onshore acreage and where gas is already produced and sold to industry. And then the terminal Deepwater fan lobes are found within the area of the Lixus and Rissana licenses. In our drilling at the Anchois field, shown in the lower left, in the bottom of those wells, we actually penetrated very thick basin floor fan sediments that would be the Tortonian age targets of the play that we see in the Rissana license area. Top right shows you some seismic extracts, bright amplitudes where we see these basin floor fans draped over structure, and they have an AVO anomaly, class 2 to class 3 far offset anomaly, which we can tie back to the Anchois gas field as being indicative of gas-bearing reservoir. So the reservoir is supported regionally, and also we can look at basin floor fan analogues. So the targets which are defined on 2D seismic data are shown on the top in the Rissana license in Morocco. Lots of shallow gas flags, flat spots and amplitude terminations against the faults. And then you can see that very broad basin floor fan complex which is draping over structure in the lower part of the panel. The right-hand side shows you the log extract from one of those wells in the Anchois gas field. High net to gross, high porosity reservoir targets with proven gas on water in that field, but we're looking to take that reservoir and put it over large combination traps in the area covered by 2D seismic. The analog from Myanmar is shown there, very similar seismic characteristics and log characteristics and a multi-TCF gas development in a very similar tectonic setting. So to summarize, the right-hand side shows you one of those leads. Again, a different orientation. You can see the drape of thick, bright packages of that basin floor fan reservoir target. Lots of shallow gas over the top and gas dimming, so we've got very good proof of hydrocarbon charge around a 40 square kilometre lead here that offers over a TCF of recoverable resource potential. And what we want to do to take this forward is, on the left-hand side, is plug a very obvious gap in the existing 3D seismic data, which is shown in grey. That will allow us to fully de-risk this portfolio of tertiary basin floor fan leads, also a Jurassic, clastic and deep water fan play shown in yellow that has very good oil potential. Again, amplitude supported with drill-ready prospects on the existing 3D. So we're looking to bring partners to join us to fund that seismic program next year and to de-risk a giant-scale drilling opportunity in the near term. Thank you.
Duncan, thank you. A very eloquent presentation as usual. Petroleum Commission Ghana, do we have Ms. Tay here from PC Ghana? Anyone from PC Ghana? Oh. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry. So forwards and backwards. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Modesty Tay from the Petroleum Commission. On behalf of the Petroleum Commission, I present to you farm out opportunities and open acreages in Ghana. Ghana's acreages include shallow water, deep water, and then ultra deep. And these provide different investors opportunity to work in various levels of the upstream industry. Infrastructure and discoveries in the area gives various investors the opportunities infrastructure and discoveries in adjacent blocks gives opportunities to investors to direct exploration in the open areas. The presentation covers 2 farm-out blocks, 4 open acreages, and our frontier onshore Voltairean Basin. The expanded shallow water tunnel block is operated by Base Energy. That is in a quest to offload a significant aspect of the block of their participating interest. The farm-in partners, those who are interested in the block, has an advantage to use various 2Ds and seismic data acquisition that we have on the block. We also have wells that have been drilled by previous companies. So any partner that is willing to come and farm into the block has vintages, 2D, 3D seismic data that they can use, so we don't need to acquire new data. It's on their existing block. Likewise, on offshore Southwest Tunnel block, which is being operated by OBCO Ghana, also is trying to offload significant aspects of their participating interest to investors. These are the various data sets that we have on the block. So any investor that is interested in coming on the block could always have access to this data set. We have 2D and 3D for full coverage. The block size is 175 square kilometers. So this small size gives opportunities to companies that are interested that, okay, the block is also closer to the Jubilee field and all that. So it's very an attractive place to work. What is the opportunity here? Just for the fact that you have a small block and a full data coverage and the companies that are willing to farm in, you could always take advantage of this and then farm into the block. We have equally exciting open acreage blocks. That is the Western Basin. We have Western Basin block 102 and then 4. And we have existing 2D and 3D data coverage. For the wells that have been drilled, we have Axim and Disco wells, and Cheetah and Jata, which shows some hydrocarbon prospects in that area. So all these areas are open for interested investors to come in. For shallow water, which is also an open block, we have some 2D and 3D data coverages. We have about 1,200 square kilometers 2D data, which covers about 80% of the block in that. 80% of the block, so just at the lower side of the block, that's where we have the 3D data. But we have extensive 2D seismic data that we can use too, and it's very good vintage. So then the 3D was acquired in 2009 by Sahara Energy. So what do we have on the block? We have 4 exploratory wells as offset wells, and some of them on the block that we could use to do our interpretation and then correlate it into the block. And then also we have wells and commission reports. So these are the data sets readily available for companies to look at. Fortunately, we have some data viewing with TGS, so any company that is interested, we could always organize a virtual meeting for them to look at the data set. For Southwest Saltpond block, which we have in the part of the Central Basin and then the Western Basin, we have 2 exploratory wells on the block, some 2D seismic data, well reports, and commission reports. But unfortunately, we have Core Lab that is organizing regional seal studies that covers both the Western, Central, and then the Eastern Basin. So any company that has interested in that block, we could always share that information with, or talk to Core Lab that can get that information to them. We come to our newest chap on the block, that's the Votean Basin. It's an onshore basin, which is a frontier basin, and it has about 6,000 line kilometers, which was recently acquired by a BGP company, and we are licensing. We have about 3 blocks that have already been licensed, with 2 already under review by the ministry and our negotiation team. For this block, it covers about 40% of Ghana's landmass, including 9 regions that the data covers. So if you are to deal with it, it's a good place to look at the data set if you're a company that is interested in an onshore basin that you need to explore. Also, we had this bitumen and micro seepages that were identified, which shows presence of hydrocarbon in the Votean Basin. Also, we do have some geochemical studies that was done for this. So it's like it can show that we have petroleum system. With our bitumen, we have seepages, and then geochemical analysis that was done. GNPC, which is our national oil company, is ready for investors to farm into the block to work with an able partner. So yes, I'll wrap up with this, that Ghana is ready for investors to come into the country. We have good fiscal regime now that there's a new government, so we are forming up a team that is reviewing the existing regulatory reforms to make it very attractive for industry. For the Petroleum Commission, is also committed to supporting companies with available data sets, licensing, transparent licensing regime, and also an enabling fiscal terms. So any company that is interested in working with Ghana or partnering in Ghana, all that you need to do is come to Ghana. We are ready. We have a peaceful country. We have beautiful environment to work and a very friendly investment portfolio. Anybody who is interested, we are with TGS running a data show. We can always come and then we can discuss and then give you an opportunity to view the various data sets that we have. Fortunately, we have just 5 minutes, so I wanted to just share this small information. Anything, you can contact Matt, and then we can take it forward. Thank you very much.
Ms. Tay, thank you. It was a pleasure. Okay, so a little bit of a change of scene now. We have Ms. Catherine here from Biogas Unite, who's going to present a little bit on cash for cooking. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you on a journey that's a little bit of a different farm out. And it has to do with our brothers' motto of making energy poverty history by 2030. If we want to reach this, we really have to speed up on one topic, and that's clean cooking. And I want to say it's an opportunity for everybody to farm in. I'd rather like to say it's an obligation for everybody to farm in. So what I'll present to you is a new way to make clean cooking an investable service with measurable returns. And we call this CC Cash. CC Cash is something that this lady earns. She does one thing differently. She has transitioned from firewood and charcoal for cooking to cooking with biogas, for example, and she earns what she cooks, cash for cooking. Clean cooking cash is what CC Cash stands for. Now, you've heard this from NJ 100 times, that there are 990 million people cooking on traditional fuels, and this causes a whole lot of problems around emissions, health, poverty, but there's a huge market of people who actually need and demand clean cooking sources. I would say, in the language of a farm out, it's probably Africa's biggest hidden basin. It's totally unlicensed, untapped, and waiting to be unlocked. And I would like to bring the oil and gas industry on board and show the world how it can be done by streamlining CSR, ESG, and carbon funds into an energy-related topic. And this is going to be done without disseminating cook stoves. This might be what you know, but this is not what we're doing. Our basin is infinite organics. I'm sorry I'm confronting you with an image of cow manure, but it shows that nearly every household in Africa is a mini well. And it's just waiting for us to tap into it. And it's not only cow manure, but it's also a lot of organic waste rotting away, not being managed. It's a lot of human feces that can also be used to produce biogas. And biogas is a natural gas that's produced in gas-tight containers from organic waste. And in a small household system, you can produce up to 4 cubic meters of gas per day and up to 200 liters of fertilizer, and there are 200,000 proven systems already out there. But that's not it. There is much more, and you can see how it looks like. You really just take your cow manure, put it in your biogas system, and out comes a flammable gas, which is mostly methane. Yeah? It's not an alternative to what you're doing, but it's complementary, because there are actually 200 million mini wells waiting to be tapped into. That's the number of households that are currently lacking access. And so far, I can say, in this sector of clean cooking, unfortunately, there is a lot of missing infrastructure that's holding the sector up. And what's even worse is a broken offtake. That's why most or many clean cooking projects have failed. And this is partly because the incentive for people is very low. So as I said, the result is high failure rates. So now let's do this right. Let's do infrastructure and offtake right, with CC Cash as the missing link. And the trick that we're taking here, or our trick, is to turn households into climate contractors. So we don't treat them as recipients of stoves, but we actually use the service that they offer to us for our companies. So besides a service network that we establish, we give people access to an app, or even with the normal phone, they can track the usage of their biogas, LPG, electricity consumption during cooking. And while they cook, this thing clocks and counts the income. And at the end of the day, they can withdraw this money. And our partner is ideally those companies who have an interest in social impact and carbon credits. So we can automatically report exactly that. So while she cooks clean, we track the data on a number of social and environmental benefits, including reduced deforestation, women's health, child health, water, biodiversity, and so on. You can see it there. And we can report it to you in a very transparent and clear way, while she earns an income, and that way we treat the root cause of the problem of traditional cooking, which is lack of income, and she can then take care of health, education, food, and so on for the family. So we are currently raising, and it's not much that we're raising in the sense of money that is being discussed here. So we are looking for seed funding to build the MVP, that means the technical or the digital platform, and onboard 1,000 households this year and next year. And then we slowly scale up, and you can see our growth projections here, which is based on, and this is unfortunately the wrong slide. It looks much better than this. So from year 2, we will be, year 1 and year 2, we will be needing seed funding of in total $1.6 million to get this started. And from year 3, we break even, and after that, we will be seriously profitable. And what we sell is the impact reports. It is a CSR report that you can use directly for your compliance, for your carbon and social projects. And what we offer is we would like to partner with 3, 4, 5 serious first early stage partners. We have different ticket sizes, you can see it there, and an advisory council of those companies to really strategically develop this as an offer and as a service, especially for the oil and gas industry. So unfortunately, these are the wrong slides. Anyway, so while I said we're starting with biogas, this is not limited to biogas. It includes LPG, electricity, ethanol, you name it. And that gives us the opportunity to really scale this to a huge scale, because the platform is technology neutral. And I think that's it. Please scan this code. Please talk to me during the course of this conference. I really want to go home with a number of partners, and I can proudly say it's endorsed by the African Energy Chamber, by NJ himself, and I think he would like to see some partners coming on board. And there is also one company here in the room. I can say Meren has supported us quite a bit to get to this point. Thank you very much.
Katrin, thank you. I've seen that presentation a number of times as you've evolved over the years, and the story keeps on getting better and better, so it's good to see how you're doing. Okay, next session, session 5, please. Perfect, thank you. Okay, there's nobody here from Darjo. Unfortunately, they had some visa issues or some travel issues. I'm going to present a very brief summary of this. It's a fairly technical presentation, but they have a poster on the wall of Farmouts with all of the details on. So if you want to see some of the details of this, please come to the wall of Farmouts at the booth and look through the details on their poster. I can also put you in contact with Darjo if you would like as well. But very briefly, so these guys have a Deepwater Nigeria block, and that Deepwater Nigeria block, they hold 50%. And they have 2 oil fields sitting on that block. One of those is the Bobo field. This is the Bobo 1 well, and this has discovered volumes of 95 million barrels with 190 BCF of solution gas, I guess saturated gas within that well. And then the Bobo 2 has 26 million barrels in place with 199 BCF of gas as well. And then Bobo 3, which was the third appraisal well drilled on that, was 51 million barrels oil and 243 BCF of gas. So it's Deepwater Nigeria. They hold the block 50%, and they're looking for investment to go and develop these, get them into production and advance this. So if you would like more information, if you come and catch up with me, I can put you in contact with them and introduce you to them. Okay. I'll skip through here. Okay, Origin. We have person here. Yes, sorry, Wade, apologies, you're sitting there. Sorry, I didn't see you down there. My apologies, sir.
Sorry.
There we are. So forwards and back.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you. I'd like to thank NJ for the wonderful job, him and his team at the Africa Energy Week and the Energy Chamber. Great to see everybody here again. Chris and Matt and Envoy, thank you for putting together this wonderful Farmout Forum. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase what we have. Origin Energy is a company that was founded by myself, and we have some of our colleagues here that have recently taken the company public in Canada. Namibia, as Echo said, it has a bright future, the orange future. We were very fortunate to realize this in 2012. We were one of the first entrants into Namibia, entering into the Orange Basin. We were kind of directed, maybe a little bit of luck, maybe a little bit of technical knowledge, but we went to the Orange Basin as opposed to the Walvis Basin, other basins in the north. And we're very fortunate to be involved. I was the founder of a company called Signet Petroleum. We were one of the early entrants into Namibia. Signet went in and acquired some data in the southern part of the Orange Basin, acquired a license. We did that in partnership with one of Knowledge Kati, one of his Namibian companies. Knowledge, as we probably know, if you know anything about Namibia, is one of the pioneers, the independent local Namibian pioneers, very active. So through Knowledge and through our company, Signet Petroleum, acquired the license, shot 2D data, and we're very fortunate then to run a data room process, and we brought Shell in. So you see Shell sitting there, which now have drilled 9 wells, 7 which were successful. That was based off of our initial seismic acquisition and interpretation, ran a competitive farm out. We didn't do that with Matt or Chris, but maybe in the future we will. But it was very successful, and we've seen some great presentations today of many farm out opportunities. But what I like to do when I talk about opportunities is talk about comparables. We're very fortunate to be in a basin that is the most active exploration area in the world, highest exploration success rate that we've seen in decades. So if you're going to farm something out, if you're going to acquire something and go through a process, why not do it in a place that's one of the most prolific, and the Orange Basin is prolific. It's very hard to get acreage here, but we were very fortunate to be there early and understand the system. Another important thing to note about Namibia is it's got a very unique ecosystem compared to other African countries and acreage acquisition. Namibia has a system where locals can participate, so the majority of the blocks that you've seen allocated went to indigenous local companies first. Then you had, let's say, independents, juniors like us come in, farm in, add some value by shooting some 2D or 3D seismic data, and adding value and de-risking it, and then we bring in the majors. So it's a very unique system. If you compare that to what's happened in Angola, Nigeria, these are deep water competitive licensing rounds. Unfortunately, the local players can't participate. Junior independents like us can't participate. It's Mobil, Shell, Exxon, BP bidding $200, $300, $400 million for deepwater acreage. That happened in Nigeria, that happened in Angola, and other African countries. So it's a very unique system, and we hope and pray that the government keeps this system that allows for everybody to be involved in the food chain, starting with local content. The indigenous companies are getting these blocks, which is great. That way they participate right from the onset. So it's a great place to be. So the blocks that I'd like to talk about today, we have in Origin Energy in partnership with our local partners, Petrovina. It's a 2712A block. It sits directly kind of northeast of the Chevron block and directly west of the Pan-Continental block. It's a very unique system in the standpoint that we like the proximity of it. As everything was drilling and getting deeper, you started off with the Kudu field, and everything kind of migrated. Shell had their successful wells, then Total drills the significant Venus, and it looked as if we were getting into deeper water, we were getting more prolific, the sands were cleaner, reservoir quality was better, and there were significant traps and source rock. The 2712 license sits north of this whole Venus trend, and Venus is Total's discovery, and once again, it was an indigenous company, private company, Impact, got the block, and then they did a great farm out to Total. And since that farm out to Total, the Qataris came in, Africa Oil, Meren came in. So you see the deal sequences on the left of the screen. These are significant transactions that are happening. That's why we like the region. That's why we like our block and why we think our blocks are very attractive. We spent $4 million in an 18-month period on our block, farmed out to Shell. We got paid $95 million up front, and then we get residual cash payments as they develop the field development plans, production, etc. The Chevron transaction with the local partners, it's not public, but we've heard rumors that it was around $55 million with some well carries. Impact their farm outs. They've done several farm outs to Total and to Africa Oil, but in excess of $100 million of cash, carried interest on well programs, and now they're sitting with a 9.5% carry through production, which is worth hundreds of millions of dollars when you're talking Deepwater. So that's why we like our 2712 block. It's in the right area. It's sitting in a very prolific geological environment. It's sitting on the oceanic crust, 2,500 to 3,000 meters of sediment above it. There's significant presence of deepwater fan systems, as we've seen from the Shell blocks, the Total blocks. We have good seismic data. Most of it's kind of the vintage PGS, TGS spectrum, which is now controlled by TGS. And if you look at the 27 block, we have a very similar geological environment to the Venus discovery, where we have the Kudu source rocks at the basement, which is the main regional source rock offshore Namibia. We're sitting, very fortunately, on this block in this outer high system. So there's a very big regional high. You see that on the right side of the top seismic screen. And that's acting as the trap. So it's a trapping mechanism for those deeper sediments with the Kudu shales as the source. The bottom is the seismic line over the Venus discovery. So you can see it's a very similar geological environment. So we're sitting in a very unique position from a geological standpoint. We have source rock, we have trap, sediment thickness. We'll be acquiring end of this year, early next year, subject to us getting some seismic contracts in place. But there's, some contractors do have licenses already to acquire 2D, 3D in the Orange Basin. So we'll be looking at acquiring a database, seismic data program, and then working through a farm out. So we acquire the data end of this year, early next year, interpret, process the data, then run a farm out process, and we'll be talking to Chris and Matt about that. And then doing a farm out next year. Typically, our business model is to get cash and a carried interest. Try to push as much carry as you can, 1 well, 2 well, 3 wells. We'd like, potentially to get a carry through production. Let's see if that works. But it's a very prolific area, prolific trends. I'm going to go back to the map here. And it's a region that we know well. As I said, we were the first guys in, farmed up to Shell. We also own what's now PAL 90, the Chevron block. We own that and another company that I was the founder and controlling shareholder of, called Regalis. We own the block shot seismic, but unfortunately we walked away too early. So it just tells you, keep in the game. Guys like Knowledge who've been there for a long time, you keep in the game and you will farm out. We're also looking, as you see, there's some other areas of interest that we have on the block, maybe some licenses that are close to Total. That's a region that we're very interested in and we're looking at. Other regions, I'd say north of that whole Galp discovery. BP, ENI, Exxon's looking to acquire acreage in here. We've met with the Petrobras team. So there's lots of people that will come in, and Matt's going to open up a big data room here shortly after we get the seismic, and Chris, and we think we're in the right place at the right time. We are looking, obviously, for the majors ultimately to farm in, but in the interim, we would look for strategic investors, if it be financial partners, smaller independents to come in and help us acquire the 2D, the 3D, and then get that big upside potential when we do the larger farm out. Thank you.
Wade, thank you very much. That's a very succinct presentation, and it's been exciting watching your story over the last couple of years. Thank you. Okay, next up we have FA Oil, offshore Sierra Leone. Mr. Ian Bully is going to come and present this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, as Matt was saying, I'm Ian Bully. I'm representing PVE Consulting. Well, we're with PVE Consulting, and together with Africa Energy Partners, we're presenting the FA Oil block in the northern part of offshore Sierra Leone. Oops, sorry. Cool. Got it. Okay, finally. So you can see on the gravity map on the left-hand side here, we've got the location of those 6 contiguous blocks that were part of the last licensing round that was FA was successful in bidding for. FA are a new company. You may not have heard of them, but they have established roots in FAMFA, who are the parent company that own FA, and they have production on the Niger Delta. So they're a well-resourced company, but FA are the arm that's going into frontier exploration. And the first of these exploration activities, as I say, is these blocks in the northern part of offshore Sierra Leone in depths of between 50 metres up to 3,500 metres. So covers a whole range of exploration activities, and indeed covers a whole lot of exploration terrains as well. It's an excellent investment opportunity. I was involved in interpreting all the original 2D data, so it's covered, most of it's covered in 2D data of a vintage of sort of 2001 to 2013, good quality TGS data. I've got a vested interest in here because I've been also involved in interpreting the area, the whole of the area for PDSL as well. So I've got quite a good knowledge of the region. This is an excellent location because it's different to the traditional exploration that we've seen in Sierra Leone, which is in the southern portion of the basin. So Venus, Savannah, Mercury, etc. This is on the northern side of the Salima Plateau, which is, you can see just about there. It doesn't really work here. So the Salima Plateau is the conjugate of the Demerara High, or Demerara Plateau in Suriname and Guyana. And the reason why this is different to the southern portion of Sierra Leone is that it's more akin to the wells that Matt showed a few presentations ago in Guinea-Conakry. That's the Sabu, GU2B1 and Fatala wells. This is a different sort of system. It's bears more relations to those wells in Guyana and Suriname at the Aptian level, so at the time of breakup unconformity. So those wells proved that there were reservoir, proved that there was oil being generated just to the north of us in Guinea-Conakry. And we've also got some really nice indications of a hotter geothermal gradient working in the system. So what I'm going to do is so a couple of an inline and cross line of the area. These are the two lines from the TGS surveys. What I've done here is to look at potential plays. And what's critical in this part of the world is that you're in a different structural system to what we have in most of the Liberia and Sierra Leone basins, where you've got a really steep margin and then basically very little in the way of structural traps, more stratigraphic traps like Jubilee. We do have this here out in the southwest, but what we do also have is this terrace. There's this large zone that's basically created by the intersection of the two different trends, the Guinea Plateau trend and the Central Atlantic fracture trends. These two trends combine to form a lot of different structural trapping mechanisms because of the complexity of these faults. And that also provides this on the edge of the Salima Plateau, this terrace, this large terrace or saddle area where you've got true four-way dips, not the steep deep water margin that you have in most of Sierra Leone and in Liberia. So lots of trapping geometries here. I've mapped four-way dips, dip and fault closed, and true stratigraphic traps at the post-rift section in the Cenomanian, Chironian and above. So quite a lot of different plays here. We're talking about potential Albion source rocks, both latest Synrift and early post-rift Albion source rocks. There's lots of evidence of seeps in the area, and of course those wells in the north in Guinea-Conakry that got proven hydrocarbons. If you look at the strike line here, you can clearly see some of the other, these are both in depth, by the way, you can clearly see some of those other trapping geometries, purely the sort of the strat traps and the purely structural traps. So an awful lot different to what we've seen in the southern part of Sierra Leone. Very different terrain indeed. Multiple seeps have also been seen in the area, so we've got very little in the way of hard evidence because the wells are quite a long way away, but there are seep indications of working hydrocarbons, and there's certainly enough sediment there down to the rift geometry, the breakup unconformity, to give you enough depth below mudline to give you a working hydrocarbon system. So I've mapped on the 2D up to well, 40, at least 14 really sizable potential accumulations here, sizable traps. Quite a lot of large four-way dips, either be unconformity traps on the breakup unconformity, horse block sitting below that, so a sort of a Brent-style trapping system, and then drape over that in the Cenomanian Turonian section. And then as you go out into the deeper water, you start to see these pinch-out stratigraphic plays a la Jubilee. So significant size traps. And what we really need, of course, is 3D to mature these leads into prospects. And that's exactly what we did, well, rather, GeoPartners and FA Oil did over the summer, shot a 3,000 square kilometre 3D in the critical area where you can see most of those leads. And that has now got a fast track that has been processed by Doug, and is ready this week to start the interpretation. So this is a fantastic opportunity to step in and start partnering with FA Oil in the next phase of exploration. New 3D in the area, FA Oil, well-resourced company that has got basically all the work commitments are now done, and now a nice 3,000 square K 3D that we can work up. So please get in touch with me, Peter Elliott, the FA Oil themselves, represented by Matt and Dan, Africa Energy Partners, and we can discuss what the next steps forward. But it's a really excellent opportunity to get in now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ian. Good presentation. We're going to have a bit of a change of continent now, head over to Pakistan.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, guys. Hi, Mike. Well, it's a bit of change. Of course, it's not in Africa, the Pakistan. So we are visiting here, and we believe that it's best to present one of our block as well. Pakistan, as you know, is in Asia. So just to be clear, we are not in Africa. Okay, it's an opportunity in Pakistan. It's a lower Cretaceous opportunity. One of them is already drilled and discovered, and there are other 3 of them which are to be explored. The one which is discovered already is by OMV back in the time of 2011 when they were there as an operator. They left as well as the partner ENI, and that ENI partner is now Prime, which we are, the legacy company ENI. So there is a discovery in the southwest Miano which has been let's say we have rebid this particular block and acquired recently in June 2024. This block has one discovery to be developed with horizontal well. It's around 100 BCF. The vertical well was tested at 3 million gas, but the fiscal regime at that time was very low, gas price around $2. Right now the gas price is quite attractive. It is around $6, and the tight gas price is around $8.50. So it's quite attractive in that range, and it is easy to develop a 3,000 meter well. Drilling time is only 30 days, and the infrastructure is very, very close. Within 30 days, the first gas can be achieved. The plant is there, infrastructure is there, and the government buys the gas, so everything is there to monetize the gas. Is a rather modest one. It's not thousands of BCF, it's only 100 BCF, which can be produced from 5 wells, small development, and we are 53% partner, and we can spare up to 25%. So this is the exact opportunity. This is in one slide. The prospectivity is in the basin floor fan sands, like everywhere in the world. We are moving into basin floor fan as well. So this is the license status, small details on it, when it was taken by the Prime Pakistan team, and what we have done till now, we have gone into LLIs stage, and they have been ordered. So we will have the LLIs in early 2026, and the drilling can happen in Q1, Q2 at max. The budgets are approved, the TCMs are conducted, so everything is is in line with the drilling plans. And we are looking for a partner who can come in and join us in this first development well. The license is awarded for 5 years. Prices, as I mentioned, are very good. The gas discovered is of quite high quality, it's around 10% carbon dioxide, but the processing plant is there to take care of that. This is on the left-hand side, called MB1 is the discovery. Is a stratigraphic play which was discovered at 5,300 psi pressure. We are planning to drill horizontal wells in this one, around 600 meter to 1,000 meters of laterals. The expected flow rates are in the range of tens of million scf. The vertical well was able to flow around 3 million gas and was tested for like 15 days. So it stabilizes around 0.91 million gas. But a horizontal well should be able to recover the cost within first 1 year of production because the gas price is quite high and it's a proven system. So it's only the method to drill and put on production. Again, some more details on the well. MB1, it has a core, it has geologic logs, everything is pretty confirmed. 30 meters of sandstone, which can be, easily we can drill a horizontal well in that, so it's not a big issue. This is the life cycle of this particular discovery. As you can see, it's around $110 million NPV, ready to market within small time, within no time actually. 6 months down the road, we can put it on production. So it's a mid-size, I would say, modest opportunity, but the best part is low investment, quite small time to market, and reasonable NPV per se. And there is an exploration upside of around 200 BCF in this one as well, which is the basin flow and sand over here on this slide. So these are reasonable opportunities, I would say, ready to market, very small, a very average size, but with an opportunity to build on the prospectivity from the basin flow and sand. These are the details. If anybody is interested, please let us know. We will be in the session. Thank you, Matt. I hope I'm in time.
Mr. Amjad, thank you very much. Perfect timing. Okay, Stuart, we're back with you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to present, I'm going to be presenting 4 talks today, but the first one is on Somalia with Liberty Petroleum. Primarily, Liberty Petroleum have 3 blocks in Somalia, 131, 190 and 206. They were signed on the 7th of March last year, adjacent to Soma's blocks and coastline, as well as TPAO, which recently came into the area investing $125 million in Somalia. I'm going to quickly go through the PSAs, talk about the stratigraphy of East Africa, then the petroleum systems, and then focus on the geochemistry and the PSAs. Later on, I'll talk about the officer basin, separate presentation. In terms of the stratigraphy, the PSAs to the south, 190 and 206, are primarily Cretaceous clastic plays, focused on turbidite sands, basin floor fans, things you've heard through this talks through today. To the north, the PSA 131 is both the Jurassic and the Cretaceous carbonate systems. We have 5 source rock systems in Somalia that have been identified, mostly oil-dominated, oil-prone systems. And the critical thing is there's a number of interformational regional reservoir seals all the way through the system. In terms of the detailed stratigraphy, in terms of the source rock systems, you have Triassic systems, early Jurassic and middle late Jurassic. And you can see that their local analog names are highlighted up in the top right-hand corner. Good TOCs, good thicknesses, regionally extensive, regionally pervasive across the whole area. Type 1, Type 2 predominantly. Interestingly, for the onshore area, this is work done by RPS Energy, but I've overlain on here both the source of the hydrocarbons and so forth from recent geochemical work. You can see a lot of the sources onshore are Jurassic and Cretaceous in age. And that dominates the onshore. In the offshore, these triangle systems highlight the offshore slicks, and critically, they also identify the opportunities where the Petroquest acreage is, 131 in yellow, and then the other 2 blocks to the south. A regional seismic line across the area is highlighted here. This is showing the Leopard prospect in 131. You can see the oil windows, peak oil highlighted in the green dots across the area. You're dealing with a Jurassic carbonate system, reef system, buried high, with an overlaying lower middle Cretaceous reservoir system, which is also extremely extensive and material across the whole area. As you've heard with Soma, these areas hold large volumes and are very material. You can see where the Jurassic sources are charging into these structures, and you can also see where the Cretaceous source rock system is working in the oil window. TPAO have the block just to the south west, which is 142, and then Soma and coastline just to the west of us. Critically, the Leopard prospect has about 6.2 billion barrels of STOIP in the middle upper Jurassic and in the carbonate buildup, and in the lower middle Cretaceous, potentially 27.7 billion barrels, of which 85% is 131 and the others in the Soma block. Where we see this as an analog is to the Zakum field in Abu Dhabi. 18 billion barrels being found there. Exxon field. Stack plays both for the deep, you can see, and also for the shallow objectives. Critically, new work has been done with the satellite sweeps work, as the Soma has done as well. Here we have extensive work has been done with 142 radar scenes have been looked at by our consultant Clement Blazot. A number of seeps have been identified, 86, of which there are 7 main seep anomalies in the block, which are repeated on multiple scenes. If we overlay that with the charge modelling work that was done by Coastline and others a while back and has been published, you can see the oil potential up in the north along the whole coastline here. This is a zoom in of all the blocks along the whole Somalia Deepwater area. The red areas are where the gas potential is, and green is where the oil potential is. And these really line up very nicely. Critically for the 131, it's really an oil play. For the southern blocks, particularly 190, you can see both a gas and oil play system, and on 206, I'll come on to that, you have these deep marine fan systems in the Apus and Albion, which are probably oil systems. If we look at the carbonate plays up in the north on the Somali High in 131, you can see these geometries zoomed in, and they look very similar to the carbonate buildups you see in the Philippines, the Malapaya, Shell Discovery, and so forth. And you can see this from outcrop data. You could also see it from onshore well data. If we look at the 190 and 206, it offers big oil potential in the Apus and Albion, very similar to Namibia in terms of the Venus discovery. You have these big basin floor fan systems with nice regional seals above. An up dip, that little red square box highlights actually is a big 4-way closure with a flat spot across it. At about the same level. But if you actually overlay the petroleum system elements of Somalia versus Namibia, the Orange Basin, you have both the source rock systems, you have the detachment shales, you have these toe thrust domains, you have these slope floor fans, and you have the right charge maturity system working for you. So critically, this was signed, these 3 blocks were signed in March 24. We see stacked oil plays, the extensive fairway with abundant running room, proven analog plays both in Abu Dhabi, Mozambique, and Namibia. It's very much an oil-prone system. It's totally undrilled. The last well in Somalia was 1990. My first well I ever drilled was 1986 in Somalia. I've drilled 302 wells since then. So, but that was a dry hole, by the way, not one of many I had. But Somalia, for me, is a very interesting area and extremely exciting. But that was an onshore play. Price is big in the offshore, big play. Remember, Shell and Esso had the whole offshore area until all the challenges above ground happened. And so it's an exciting opportunity where the big players have identified the real running room and potential. And the work done by the USGS shows 20 billion barrels plus has been identified and could be exposed across. If you want to contact Lane Franks, he's the president of Liberty Petroleum, and he will be happy to engage you on any discussion going further, or talk to me at the conference. Thank you. I'm going to give another presentation on the Seychelles. This is basically PetroQuest, Seychelles, 57.5, and Adamantine have 42.5%. This work was done by Mark Stone and Chris Matchett Downs. The basic acreage position is quite material. It's about 2.4 million acres. There was wells drilled by Amoco in the early 1980s, which confirmed it was very highly prospective in both the Triassic, Jurassic and Cretaceous reservoir sections. The Owen Banks found Middle Jurassic and Late Jurassic synrift systems. Good source rock and seals were identified. Reef Bank 1 also saw a lot of good Triassic reservoir systems, and then the Seagull Shoals penetrated a very active Karoo system. The red blocks highlight the two areas that are licensed in the Seychelles to these two companies, and the areas are highlighted there on the bottom layer, totaling up 9,703 square kilometres. A number of prospects in these have been identified. Large volumes have been identified with resource potential of 705 million barrels in one block to the west, and then to the east, the 1.3 billion barrels have been identified. In terms of the reservoir systems, you see these stacked oil and gas plays all the way through the Triassic, Jurassic and Cretaceous, multiple source rock systems all the way through. The wells were drilled not on valid structural tests, which is one of the fundamental flaws with the previous campaign by Amoco. And so Liberty have gone in there, having done a lot of work historically, and reworked this area towards a drilling campaign. USGS has identified a yet to find of around 2.4 billion barrels in the Seychelles, sourced by, there's lots of tar systems, tar seeps and so forth, surface seeps. In the wells that were drilled, this is an example on Reef Bank on the left-hand side, you can see there were good shows identified through this work, through the well, good sandstone reservoirs, good regional seals, as you can see, so thick sands and reservoirs. So find these in the right structural closure, timing-wise as well. It's good. You've got TOCs up to almost 6%. It's oil mature. You also see source rocks in all the wells. You see tar strandings, and you also see there's no tertiary burial giving any other challenges around gas charge or breaching. In terms of the reservoir systems, this is an example of Reef Bank. You can see good porosities, 17.7%, good net to grosses, good net reservoir systems, and stacked reservoir systems all the way through the system. And you see these constantly in all the wells. In terms of the structural issue, the issue is the imaging of the seismic. Shallow water, you've got hard limestone seabed, you've got castified surfaces to deal with, poor signal to noise ratio, issues around seismic noise and frequencies and so forth. Liberty have identified through PetroQuest ways to reprocess this data and get an optimal imaging going forward. In terms of the volume potential, we can see both the mean area, the mean volumes here and the P10s. P10s are the darker greens and the means are highlighted in light green, but 600 million barrels plus. And then the charge modelling that was done by Chris Matchett's Downs using Trinity across the area. This is an example just at the top Karoo level. You can see how you've got the deeper source rock systems from the Turonian and Sandemanian sourcing into the Karoo in the down dip, in an up dip sense. A bit like the Kimmeridge charging into older systems. So very much a very good system with potential material volumes along this whole trend, all tied in with surface seeps and tar systems that are mapped on the surface. So what they want to do is they want to reprocess the Juno 3D that was acquired by Ophir when they farmed in, but they did a very fast-track volume and then they were exiting at the time, so didn't really follow through on that, and shoot a new 3D over on the western block and improve the prospect inventory and target a structural closure on structure. So they're looking for an investor to support the reprocessing of the existing 3D using Doug's MPFWI, shot domain processing, which will be a step change from the Ophir prior work, and then also you do a new 3D using 3D's top size over a barrel Vallon. The total cost will be about $15 million at 100% cost. They're looking for someone to come in for 25% equity to carry them through the seismic phase and also recover 25% of the past costs, and then earn an additional 25% equity for carrying them into an exploration well. Any proposal includes the drilling will be obviously viewed very favourably going forwards. Again, please contact Lane Franks, Liberty Petroleum, or myself at the conference. There are flyers for all of these, all the presentations today on the front here. You're welcome to take with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the final session 6, the final session, perfect. Just a reminder, we have a Farmout booth, wall of Farmouts out in the main conference hall. Stuart will probably be hanging around there much of the week, and there'll be additional material. Lek Oil, we have a presenter from Ian, yeah, perfect, sorry, apologies. Perfect, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Ian Case. I'm the Commercial Business Development Lead for Lek Oil and its parent, Cambridge. I want to just share with you really briefly an exciting exploration opportunity that we have. What I'd like to do over the next few minutes, if I may, is pick on Mike's phrase where he said before, tickle your curiosity. So I'd like to tickle your intrigue and your curiosity and potentially take some of your time in the future to have a management presentation. Very specifically, what we're looking to do is to farm down 30 to 40% of a Deepwater Nigeria block with operatorship, and we're really building up to a drill or drop decision in 3 to 5 years' time in the first phase. Moving on, so the first thing I want to share with you is the block is well placed. It's on trend in the Niger Delta in the Dahomey Basin. On trend, we mean you'll see on that slide there are some well-known production fields, things like Agbami, Bonga, for example, Erha, Agena. So it's well on trend, and then secondly, it's on trend for us because further inshore, we've got a block OPL 310, which is a discovered resource opportunity, and we're looking to get that into development soon. The next attractive thing I want to share with you about the block is the source rock. Our basin modelling shows that the source is a well understood regional source, that it extends as far as 325, and secondly, it's generative enough to basically filter spill the formations that we've been looking at. In addition, we've got a good sand story. The depositional modelling showing a couple of things. One is we can see there's enough energy to get the sands out there. Some of you may be aware in the Niger Delta, further over to the west, there's a number of fields that have been discoveries, but unfortunately they just haven't had the volume to make them developable in the deep water. So as well as our depositional modelling showing that the sand had the energy to get out to 325, what we're also seeing is analogue wells, particularly the Ogoni 1 well, which although it wasn't a discovery itself, some of the regional markers are showing that, yeah, the sands actually track over into 325. The big difference being in 325, they have additional thickness, so we think they can get up to the volumes that would be required to develop in the deep water. Just finally on this slide, the other thing I just want to point out is that we started with somewhere in the region of about 30 different concepts. We've worked that up into 20 different leads and now 9 different prospects. Just moving on from there, what I hope is tickling and enticing about this is what it does is it really gives us a couple of play types. We've got stratigraphic play types and we've got structural play types. The great thing about this is when we come to look at well locations, that gives us a diversity of wells or prospects to choose from to drill, but it also gives us the opportunity that then if there are discoveries, then the dependence within the play types, if you will, are such that that would hopefully lead to a good running room and a good series of discoveries. The one thing, and probably the thing I most want you to take to heart about this block, is we're showing you the 2 plays in the tertiary. What I'm not showing you at this point is the nascent play that we've identified in the Cretaceous. That's something we're working on and looking forward to sharing with you in the future, or with hopefully the farm-in partner who comes in as operator can help us work on that. The next thing is there are a number of AVO anomalies identified, primarily class 2 and class 3. Some of those are capable of being direct hydrocarbon indicators. I'm not a geologist myself, so the first time I heard that I got awfully excited, but now I know a better understanding of what that means. The other thing that's important is we're actually seeing some conformance to structure here as well, which is obviously very encouraging. excuse me. The final thing, those of you may be aware that other wells that have been drilled in the Dahomey Basin primarily were suffering failures of seal. So one thing we've put a lot of time and energy into, and I do expect a groan to go around the room when I mention this, one of the tools we've looked at is CSEM. A good friend of mine describes that as voodoo. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but we have got partial calibrations for this. And so what we're seeing in these stat sections is, is reasonable indicators of fluid contact, so we can differentiate the stratigraphic from the fluid contact. So that's encouraging. Similarly, in the deeper sections, we've actually done some spectral and phase decomposition work. The spectral work is particularly encouraging because, again, what it's helping us do in the deeper sections now is identify the false positives. Just moving on lastly, because obviously when we're dealing with the deep water, one of the critical questions is yes, if we find something, if we're successful, can we develop it? So we've kind of taken some of the regional lithographic and fluid analogues and some of the performance of some of those large producing fields I mentioned earlier, kind of fed that forward into a development concept, and we think, that whether it be as a single large discovery or a couple of medium-sized discoveries, combined with Nigerians' recently revised and improved fiscal terms, we think it actually makes for quite attractive development opportunities. So really great to have the opportunity to talk to you. Love to talk to you more if you're interested in a more deeper discussion. We're inviting people to come to a 60-minute management presentation where we can get into a lot more detail and demonstrate some of the things that I've shown to you. And again, just in summary, we're looking for a 30 to 40% operating partner who can help us work on a drill or drop decision. Thank you.
Ian, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to meet you as well, after having spoken numerous times. Do we have anyone from First E&P here? Sagan or Lab? Oh, you do, perfect. I was just checking you were here. Perfect, thank you. Would you wait a second? Sorry, I know these guys were delayed. I just wanted to confirm that they were here. Mark, yes, please. Okay, so I'd like to welcome up to the stage Mr. Mark Talley from Simplers Oil in Angola. I was in Luanda for the oil and gas conference 3 weeks ago, and I saw Mark present some of this then, so it'd be good to see a little update on it. Thank you. So forwards and backwards.
Forward and backwards. Okay, good. Good afternoon, everybody. Group of Simples is here with an offer for the onshore Angola Kwanza Basin. So we have, we're the operator in Con 6, and we have 100% because our partner dropped out. So we're seeking investment participation in Con 6. We have large undrilled structures that are present in Con 6 and known proven plays with analog onshore and offshore production. And we've just acquired 242 kilometers of seismic. So we're working under a production sharing agreement. It was effective September 2022. It's 5 years. So the block is a little over 1,000 kilometers square. We got very easy access to the Luanda oil terminal or the refinery. They drilled 5 wells back in the 70s, all with oil shows. And total seismic, we got 900 kilometers between the legacy, the TGS, which was 2010, 2012, which just recently got reprocessed. And so our commitments are for 1 exploration well, and if we have a discovery, then an appraisal well afterwards. So we've completed all the G&G studies, and viral impact has been completed. As I said earlier, the seismic 242 kilometers is finished. We're fast tracking the reprocessing of that, and we should be able to have our leads identified and ranked by probably first part of November. We have a spud date of the second quarter 2026. We've already have a lot of the long lead items are on their way, and we're working on service contracts right now. So these are some slides. I'm not a geologist, so it'd be hard for me to explain all of this, but we have, basically, we have 13 current leads. There's 8 post-salt and 5 pre-salt leads. So we're targeting with the first well, we're targeting the Pinda and the Binga. So we got 1.8 million barrels of unrisked through the figures on the seismic, the reserves that have been calculated. So we have 4 or 5 candidates that we're looking at that we're going to drill at. It's a low-cost onshore and potential high-impact discoveries. So if we were successful, we have lots of leads to continue on. I'm sorry, I'm probably not even moving this thing. Apologize. So those are the leads that we have in the block. So easy access from Luanda to get to Con 6. So the leads will be ranked in the fourth quarter this year, and the final well location will be picked in the fourth quarter. 3,200 meter deep is currently the depth that we plan on going. And so, like I said, long lead items are ordered, and then we got a spud date of 2026. So this was an example of the preliminary migrate stack for one of the lines. So with 2 of the bigger leads are on this line, Mabula and San Francisco. So, all right. If we have anybody interested, please give me a call. Appreciate it.
Mark, thank you very much. It was a great presentation. And it's great to see exploration onshore Angola advancing after many years of it being quiet. Because First E&P are here now, we're going to skip through to their presentation and then come back to the previous one. Perfect, there we are. Thank you. Mr. Owolabi, correct? Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stage. So this is forwards and backwards. Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, distinguished guests. My name is Segun Owolabi from First TMP. I know you are very tired after 2 hours of so many presentations. It's my great honor to be here to represent First TMP. I'm the General Manager, Exploration and Development. And what I'm trying to present to you today is an opportunity that we are maturing. First TMP is not a new company. It's been on for 13 years. I'm currently producing shallow water. So we have a lot of experience in offshore production. And we have an FPSO. And we have interest in so many other blocks. We currently have 3 producing licenses and then 3 more present exploration work. So what I'm presenting to you is an interesting asset in Deepwater. And fortunately, my previous colleague from Lekoi presented something very close to what I'm going to show you as well. So it was a good precursor to that. And another colleague of mine from Namibia presented something on Namibia and said, only IOCs get deepwater blocks in Namibia. That's not true. In Nigeria, we've done that in Nigeria. First TMP is a local company, independent company, and we won 2 blocks and so many others. And you saw Lekoi too. Lekoi has 2 blocks. So it is not only in Namibia, it's also happening in Nigeria. Thank you very much. So what we are seeking today is investors' interest in 2 these blocks, 2003DO and 2006. And you could see the unique nature of 2003 here. It's just south of Bonga. Most of you are familiar with Nigeria. We don't need to tell you about the geological structure and that carbon potential of Niger Delta. It's a prolific hydrocarbon zone with source rocks and reservoirs in there. And it's just out of Bonga that produces over 1 billion, and you see over 2 billion barrel reserve to be produced. You see how Bonga Southwest here, not yet developed, and I understand Shell is taking FID on Bonga North, if they have not taken already. So these blocks lie at the outer thrust and footbed region, and we have over 6 billion barrel on risk resources in place. It's close to what I said, the commercial discoveries. Bonga, that is one of them. I'm going to show you the other now. So this is 2003, and what you see here is the prospectivity that we have mapped here, and we are currently doing here. It's in the transform fault area outer Neretic of the Niger Delta, water depth of about 2,500, and we've mapped several structures in there. On trend with several structures like Insiko, which is being operated by Chevron, Ufigbo and Uge, all by Chevron as well. And on this particular structure, one well has already been drilled, and it's called the Morrocco well. And the well found substantial volumes of volume, a lot of hydrocarbon intervals, and quite a few reservoirs with potential good porosity and permeability. So reservoir properties is not in doubt, even at deeper depth in this zone. The other block is PPA 2006. It's also close to discovered volumes. It's in the south of what we call the OPA 245. I don't know if how many of you are familiar with Nigeria. If you're familiar with Nigeria, you must have heard of Zaba Zaba. This is south of Zaba Zaba, and there was a recent field discovered by Chevron towards the eastern side of that. For confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to mention the names in there, because ExxonMobil is still keeping tight lips on that as well, too. It's a proven play, mid to upper Miocene turbidite channels, drape over scene pre-kinetic trough structures. It's an Oligocene to lower Miocene basin floor sands in a footwall and an Agin wall closure. We've also mapped this, and it's in trend with that Zaba Zaba and Sogo in the northern part of it, and there's another block in the eastern part of it too that's also been operated now, being mature as we speak. So what are we looking for today? We are currently seeking strategic partners here to join us in unlocking these assets' full potential. We know it's a lot of opportunity, but we're looking for partners to join us in unlocking it, either as a farming or a JV or equity participation. And we offer a transparent and risk and value accretive proposition for each of the partners. So in conclusion, I would say this is more than a geological opportunity. It is a strategic enabler for energy transformation. And for us in Africa, south of Sahara, we invite you to join us on this journey, to invest in this future where energy is abundant. Somebody presented before now about energy problems out of Sahara, but we believe that this is one of the ways we can manage that as well. And I think if you join us, we're going to provide the energy required for the people of South Africa, and in particular South of Sahara. So thank you for your attention. We have detailed teasers, which is here in front of me, and we'll be able to share that with you after this presentation. Thank you very much.
So that was a very nice presentation. Thank you very much. I'm pleased you were able to join us this afternoon. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to quickly skip on back to Angola now, and then we're going to come back to Chad after this. So very briefly, this is an opportunity onshore Angola. The presentation that Mark gave us was onshore the Kwanza Basin. This is onshore the Lower Congo Basin, which is the basin to the north. And Walcott holds the two blocks, which you can see in yellow, and they are onshore, and they're on the landward pinch-out side of the basin, and there's a 2D data set that sits within it. So here the plays are shallow, and this could work as a conventional play with shallow drilling into synrift structures. It could also work as a heavy oil play. There are heavy oil seeps throughout these blocks, which obviously is oil coming out of the basin, coming to the surface, where there's pinch out on the landward side of it. So this could also work as a heavy oil play. The key thing about this is that it's a relatively cheap point of entry. The 2D data on the blocks you could license for approximately $100,000, $150,000. There's an existing airborne mag survey, and you could license that data set on the blocks for approximately $50,000. And then you could fly an airborne grav survey, a high-resolution airborne grav survey with a Falcon AGG over these, and that would approximately cost $200,000. And that would give you a pretty comprehensive data set to go and drill some wells and develop those plays. So it's a low-cost point of entry, and also being Angola, if you're looking for an entry to Angola, this is a really sweet, low-cost way of coming into Angola and potentially getting a little bit of heavy oil production started and going. Okay, Chad, Stuart, you're back up. I'm going to skip back 3 slides back to Chad. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to introduce you to Chad. We are CG International Petroleum. I'm the Chief Geoscientist for Chad. That's my full-time job. The night job is the other stuff. We're going to be the next major producer in Chad, so I'm going to introduce you to what we're trying to do. So there's a disclaimer. We are a private company, but I'll give you the disclaimer anyhow, because we're going through a farm-out process. We acquired Delanex. So historically, this acreage is 2 blocks, Block H and the DOC-DOD block in the Doba area. United Hydrocarbons came in 2012. They paid 86 million signature bonus to come into the country. They drilled 14 wells, number of discoveries. It was acquired by Delanex in 2017 for 75 million with options. Then Delanex acquired 3D seismic, drilled 6 wells. And then CGIP, through COVID, acquired both United Hydrocarbons and Delanex. So we have the full cost recovery pool of $400 million. We talked to the government before doing anything, which is something that Savannah didn't do. And we will have first oil in end of October this year. The management team, Warren Levy, 29 years experience in a number of companies, particularly Jaguar, EMP in Mexico and others in Argentina and so forth. We have Jordan Coleman, COO, myself, 38 years experience, ex-VP of Shell and VP of Hess and Apache and various other things, and CEO of various companies. We've had Esteban Price, CFO, Musa, country manager, who was also the country manager before with United Hydrocarbons and Delanex, and Ruben Raj, HSE and communication coordinator, and Gary Piddock. Over 150 years of experience in that management team. The Republic of Chad is very pro-oil. 90% of the exports are through oil. 60% of the GDP is from oil. The main export pipeline built by Exxon was through Cameroon. It was a 250,000 barrels capacity. It's currently doing 130,000 barrels, so there's plenty of capacity at the present time. The royalty system, 14.25% royalty, cost recovery 70% on revenues, profit oil split 40-60, and there's back-in right 25% for the government if necessary. There's no other taxes on the oil operators. It's in US dollars, and the fiscal regime is one of the best in Africa. The blocks have seen a lot of investment over the last 15 years, $400 million of cost recovery pool available. 6% of the wells were successful. And there's a lot of upside now because trucking is now allowed in the petroleum law as of the last month. Block H, the focus of this presentation, 16 wells have been drilled, there were 11 discoveries. And the DOC Doba block, we have 6 wells ready to produce, and we got another 7 development wells identified. In terms of the historical Doba development, there's 3 fields there. We have Balanga North, and Lara Field. Those are the discoveries. The IPs on the tests, as you can see, up to anywhere between 600 and 1,600 barrels of oil per day. Stacked plays in the Cretaceous sands, with the Yo being the principal objective at this phase. And real good potential and running room. Very good API oils. We have immediate production. We've completed PCP tests recently. We've got 5 to 6 wells. The 5th and 6th wells will be needed workover. Our test rates vary between, as I say, 600 and 1,600 barrels of oil per day. When we purchased the company, we got about $30 million of materials on location. We've got 7 additional well locations in the Doba block, and we got a target plateau production around 5,000 barrels of oil per day. We've done base refurbishment. These pictures are shown here. The production battery has been set up. We're very short distance to the pipeline, and we've got a whole bunch of other services nearby. 1C resources are about 3.1 million barrels, 2C 12.6, and 47 million barrels of upside. That's an example of the Yo sands you can see on the right-hand side, showing the oil down to. And we have good attribute work that's been done by Dolonex in the past, and also United Hydrocarbons. But you can see all the refurbishment we've been doing in the block since January this year, and we're cracking on with things on this area. Now, Block H is a very exciting block up in the north. We have 7,707 square kilometres, 1.9 million acres. Dolonex acquired 3D over much of that, over half that block. As I said, there's 11 discoveries in there out of the 16 wells that have been drilled. It's on trend with Niger, so it's the same fairways as in Niger, where there's about 1 billion barrels have been identified by the Chinese, and Savannah, 73,000 barrels of oil per day current production. We plan early production from one of the discoveries drilled by Dolonex before year end, and then we have workovers required for the additional wells going forwards. We have about 90 million barrels of 2C resources and about 1.2 billion barrels of recoverable resources. There's three distinct play areas: the south, Sadegi, Canam, that big structure in the middle, and then the northeast 3D area close to the Niger border. Canam is the big structure. It's got about 2 billion barrels of STOIP potentially in there. It's 180 square kilometres on the 3D. It's got a 500-metre closure. The reservoirs there in the Cretaceous there are the same reservoirs that produce at Kumé and so forth further south, and also Hussein in Sadegi and also in Kumé in the block. The important point is the northern area tested by Dolonex found the tertiary discoveries, but the rig wasn't capable to drill deeper into the Cretaceous. So it only got to 3,200 metres, but they had stacked oil plays up in the tertiary. We're going in with a bigger rig to actually be able to drill down to 4,500 metres. But the finding costs in that first phase were less than $1 a barrel. So this is a seismic section, very good 3D data across the area, as you can see. Very good quality seismic, easy to map, very simple depth conversion, some AVO responses and so forth all the way through the data and so forth. This is the Cannon well that was drilled early on by Conoco in the old days. They got IPs of anywhere between 1,300 and 1,200 barrels of oil per day from that in the tertiary, didn't go down deeper. Dolonex did come in and drill a slightly deeper well, but not deep enough, and they found additional plays of 44 API oil and so forth. So very interesting potential. But what we see with Canam is we see both the additional reservoirs that were seen by the Dolonex Canam West well with the Yugu and the DYT. The Yugu is the main play in Niger, but they had no time to do DSTs because of limitations on equipment at the time. We have the Eocene discoveries, and we also have the deeper potential. And the red box highlights what we're really targeting in this well going forwards for the deeper potential, and also tying in the shallow sections. So this is the structure compared to London. I could have done it compared to Cape Town, depends on the audience, or if I'm in America to either Houston or New York. It's a massive area, covers most of London if you want to do it on the same scale. The resources are identified already with third-party certified resources identified in green and purple there, but there's other deeper potential being identified that extends in the Cretaceous in both the Sadegi and the gold plays that could add additional volumes, material volumes going forwards. So we have exploration appraisal wells planned in phase 2, and this is what we're looking for a partner to come in and invest in with us. The northern part of the block, we have good 3D areas. There's an extended ridge that goes, a northeast-southwest stepping nose that goes into Niger, where the Yugu play was. Unfortunately, Dolonex didn't drill. They missed the objectives by about 300 meters, so we will be doing the appraisal wells that will go down and target the Yugu play as well with a bigger rig. But we also make sure we can thread the needle and so forth and hit multiple stacked objectives. As I say, there are lots of pay zones in Hazari itself, 17.7 meters of oil pay with an oil down to 124 million barrels of STOIP by third-party assessments. And again, what we're doing is we're going with a bigger rig to actually use it to both drill the deep well in Cameroon, but also to drill deeper wells in Hazari and this area. So where we are is we've done a lot of extensive work has been done on the mapping, testing, and we've confirmed substantial hydrocarbons in Block H. We've got about 1.2 billion barrels of proven and probable reserves in Block H. We've got 4 top-tier locations out of a big prospect inventory. We've got an operational camp, but we've set that up in Doba. We need to revitalise it for Block H. In phase 1, under Delanex, there were 4 discoveries made out of 6 wells. A lot of 3D was acquired and 2D. In phase 2, we plan to do 4 wells with hookups and workovers of other wells. We need about $75 million of investment at 100%, and we intend to fill up the ullage of around 10,000 barrels. The Sadegi field actually has a pipeline going down to the refinery in the block. Sadegi is ring-fenced out and operated by SHT, the Chadian National Oil Company. There's ullage in that pipeline, it's 15,000 barrel capacity. They've got 3,000 barrels going through it, so we intend to fill that capacity up. We then, with success or the bigger volumes, we would then need to put a pipeline infrastructure in place, twinning the existing pipeline system and can scale it up to 100,000 barrels, similar to what's being done in Niger. So we're seeking a strategic partner for $75 million to invest in 2 exploration wells, 2 appraisal wells, targeting 1.2 billion barrels of STOIP, with some workovers planned to target the 90 million barrels of 2C from the existing discoveries, and then own a material equity position. So can you reach out to either Warren, our CEO, or myself? I'm at the conference all week. There are flyers there on the front desk if you want to take those. Thank you. Okay. Okay, good. Great. Okay, so this is work I did a few years ago, and we've been negotiating with the indigenous groups, and we've almost finished that now. We've got 4 of the 5 groups signed up. So I'm pleased to present where the officer basin is, and in Australia you have to have the indigenous groups signed up before your license becomes active. So we've identified the officer basin because it's a near pro-stroke basin, multi-billion barrel potential, conventional oil, onshore, 20 million acres, 5 blocks. The risk volumes are around 11 billion barrels, 22 TCF, of which there's about a 1 TCF of helium. And of the subsalt volumes, a large proportion is also hydrogen. For the technology we used ARAD, a radiometric technology that was being developed by Dr. Afif Arbi, an MIT PhD grad, who uses AI and various other techniques, and has been calibrated to a number of basins in Australia, and I also calibrated the team well last year very successfully. The well costs are about $3 million a well, and we're seeking partners to come in for up to 45% equity and operatorship. So this is a location map. This structure map is the data I interpreted off the 2D data that was acquired by Shell in the early 80s. Historically, in the area, Hunt had been in there in the 60s. They drilled shallow wells because they saw the salt basin. Typical Hunt, they always missed the stuff unless it was in Yemen. But then Shell came in, drilled 3 wells, and only one of them was a valid structural test in a breach structure. The other ones were off structures. A former VP of Shell, it's kind of embarrassing they missed the structures. But nevertheless, there's been about 7,000 kilometers of 2D data acquired. A lot of data was reprocessed by the Japanese in 2002. There's been 8 wells drilled. Only one was a valid test, and it was in a breached area. I'll come on to that later on. You can see a lot of this data in our data room, but you can also go, Western Australia is very open pro oil and gas, so they have the DMIRS database, which you can go on to. It's a public database, all the well data is on there, and all the seismic data is on there. So source rocks, reservoirs and seals. The important point about this basin, it's near Proterozoic, so you have a salt system, a pre-salt and a post-salt system. We've got near Proterozoic rocks. We see type 2 and type 3 source rocks. They're distributed throughout the system and have been extensively worked and published by a number of parties by the Australian government. We have, they're mature for oil and gas. Oil in the post-salt and pre-salt is gas mature. There's analogues to Eastern Siberia in terms of the volumes and the reservoir seal systems and Oman. The reservoirs are anywhere between 50 and 250 meters thick, good porosities, 15% plus, and good interformational seals. As I say, only one valid test, but there are gas chimneys seen in this area. So the Australians say, well, there's no source rock in the system, but these wells sampled source rocks. They were just poorly sampled as they were done. There are source rocks all the way through, stacked. And when you actually back calculate the source rock thicknesses and maturities and the TOCs, you can get many billions of barrels, 35 billion barrels produced. Now, the radiometric technique that we've done is this ARA technology. We look at potassium, thorium, and uranium. This is data acquired by the Australian government for free for the mining companies. We're able to process that and look at the divergences in anomalies from that. The workflow takes that information, processes it. We apply algorithms and processing and AI and get a whole series of corrections to get to the ultimate maps. So number C there, the Perth Basin, we did 9 tests of the technique against wells that were being drilled at the time, and we predicted every well that was being successful and each one that was going to fail ahead of the drill bit. I wish I'd actually been buying shares as I was going along with that. I would have been a billionaire by that stage. But we predicted the Lockyer wells, the Watsier wells that were drilled, and so forth. In the Cuparamanga Basin, we also calibrated it with 1,697 wells drilled post-1997 when the radiometric survey was required, and we did this work in 2016, and we got an 89% success rate from that. Again, I tried it with Timor last year. I gave him a blind test. I didn't give him any other data, didn't tell him any well results, and he showed the 3 discoveries we'd made with Timor resources and things yet to drill. So it works in both desert, any above ground areas, and also forests such as Timor. The radiometric technique, you can see these bright anomalies that are, so the sampling here is 200 meter grid. The seismic grid is 6 kilometers by 8 kilometers. So we've got a 200, almost a 3D image, essentially, of the subsurface here. And when you see these bright anomalies, they overlay the oil windows that we can map from the maturity work done in the well data. So there's a one-to-one fit. The other interesting thing is the structure is very large. Generally, they are about 75 square kilometers. They're 300 or 400 meters high. A few of them join up into superstructures. They have gas chimneys above them. So the fact there's no charge, how do you get a gas chimney? You've got AVO responses, you've got phase changes, and so forth. The 4th well that Shell was drilled had a massive AVO anomaly, but in those days, Shell would only go into a basin for 3 wells. If they didn't find 500 million barrels, they walked. So they missed it, unfortunately. Tough luck. Anyhow, so the Officer Basin, we have material volumes, low risk, lots of running room. There's 21-hour anomalies all the way through the area. They show large columns, large areas. It's all desert with a blacktop road right through the middle of it. And it's very easy to access. So shipping can be done initially by truck to the railheads. The other important thing is, like the Amadeus Basin, but the Amadeus Basin, where there's 3 fields, has been heavily inverted and structurally, there's a lot of later overprints that have breached most of the structures. This is not the case in the Officer Basin. This has stayed very stable for a very long period of time. So we have, in the post-salt, 50 prospects and leads, 3 or 4-way closures, large areas, 11 billion barrels, 6.2 TCF. In the Camper and Hussar, there's some shallow stuff as well. In the sub-salt, there's about 22 prospects, almost 16 TCF. Almost a TCF of that is helium, and 11% of that gas is also hydrogen. There are 2 superstructures that share 4 or 5 of the prospects, so they all have a common contact. So they could be massive, but multi-billion thing, including the Moby Dick thing to the way to the south. And then the other thing is you can commercialize very quickly. So you can truck the oil to the railhead, and the gas can be commercialized by gas to power to the east coast, where there's a good gas price at the present time, because Australia is so green that they really screwed up on their gas prices. So we have a low-cost entry, $3 million a well, NRI is about 85%. Supportive government, we're looking for a 45% partner to come in and operate. Thank you. Again, flyers are available on the front. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Stuart, thank you. Okay, there's one more presentation. So if we can close this down now and then go to the Somalia. Just while we change over, just to remind you, we have the Farmout booth out somewhere in the venue, and there's a wall of Farmouts with posters for 25 different Farmout deals up on posters. Myself, Mike, Chris will be there at the booth on and off throughout the week. So for any of the deals, any of the Farmouts, if you want to speak to us, please come to the booth, come and find us, and feel free to discuss. So it's just the Somalia presentation. Yep. And this is the last one. Yeah, perfect. There we are. Thank you.
Well, thank you. For those in the room, I stand between you and partying, so I'm going to try and keep this very brief. And in fact, you've already had two very good presentations from two of the three block holders in Somalia. So you have a very good feeling for what it's all about, but I'm here representing the SPA. And it's very important that I define that, the Somalia Petroleum Authority. They're a key part of the government, and what I hope to demonstrate is they're fairly new in their inauguration, and what they've asked me to do is simply stand up and say they are open for business. License rounds will follow. So just in summary, some key messaging. It's open for business. The first new offshore round really kicked off in 2022 with the new petroleum law and the SPA being formed in 2020. So bearing in mind we're in 2025, that really isn't very long for a country to regain its international authority after the civil war back in the late 90s. So technically, we've heard from the two presenters already. There are three huge, basically undrilled basins offshore Somalia. The mid-north Somalian High to the north, the Mogadishu Basin, and the Juba Deep to the south. The north is principally a carbonate play, transitioning through to more of a tertiary clastic play to the south. There is a fair bit of data, most of it seismic. Only 8 wells of the 72 wells are drilled anywhere near the offshore. So really, nothing has been done offshore, but there is huge prospectivity. So the forward plan is to hopefully finally unlock Somalia after the rest of East Africa was defined by drilling in Kenya and Tanzania and Mozambique and the like, just at the point that Somalia had had all the majors, as I think Stuart said. All the offshore was operated by majors. They all left because of the civil war. So you are 30 years behind the times, and therefore Somalia remains completely unlocked other than for drilling. And from Tanzania, Kenya to Somalia, it's not surprising when you look at the evolution, and we've seen the way Madagascar unlocked the northern part of Madagascar. To me, there's a fantastic basin, the Majunga Basin. There's prospectivity to the north that's been unlocked to the south simply because they had 30 years of exploration. Somalia is time-locked, if you like. And again, without going into major detail, there's clear evidence of these basins, both in terms of stacked play from tertiary down even potentially to the Jurassic and the Triassic. 3 basins. And a lot of work's been done, principally, I have to say, with Sami previously with Coastline. They put a huge amount of money into seismic. They employed companies, well, one primary company, Actus Veritas, who are part of the U3 group, very experienced people based in the US that I went to visit when I was in Houston recently. They have done a huge amount of work. So if anyone was interested in Somalia, wanted to talk to the SPA about new acreages, new acreage, or indeed about the existing acreage and farming in, there are collectively in this industry some very experienced people who've done a huge amount of work proving up these different basins and the opportunity. But it needs well. I thought I'd put this in, being a geologist. There's clear evidence of nears and fars in some of this stuff. So it's not as if there isn't opportunity. I think Stuart put this up, and a lot of this stuff has been published in papers, so it's open for you to go and find. And in fact, in the essence of time, I didn't include a slide, but there's a perfect analogue to this, a huge carbonate field in the Far East. So there are clear analogues. geophysicists amongst you, I just thought we'd put you in here to get you excited. And again, actually, if we go back, there are nears and fars in here, even to the south. Again, loads of data, mostly owned now, or all of it owned by TGS, and originally had been shot by, I can't remember the name, Seabird and a couple of other companies. Spectrum, that's what I was thinking of, who was acquired by TGS. And I thought I'd put this in, because as Stuart says, where there's hydrocarbon, there needs to be evidence. There are slicks, there are lots of seeps, and there's gas chimneys. There's plenty of evidence on the data that this has loads of hydrocarbons in it. But when there's not even one well being drilled, then yes, an exciting province. 2020, the Somalia Petroleum Authority was formed that sits under the ministry, and then you have the national company underneath that. Favourable fiscal terms. I think that was presented earlier, very favourable. Fees and bonuses, basically they're all negotiable with fixed income tax, corporation tax and royalty payments. But certainly if you find anything over 400-500 million barrels, and there's evidence of substantially more than that in such an undrilled frontier basin, you're going to make good money. And finally, I think I may have got this wrong, 2022 Kaiserslautern Exploration had 7 blocks, I think it was, and then more recently 3 blocks to TPAO, who've just left, having shot, I think, 4,000 odd square kilometres of new 3D. Yes, they were accompanied by a Turkish military ship, but they had no issue whatsoever. What was interesting recently in Houston, there was a delegation there with the SPA and the minister who spoke, and they were all there out demonstrating that they are really open for business. And what I found fascinating was they came with an entourage of Americans who are thinking about investing in Somalia. And someone said to me, whispered to me, well, this is the current US authorities' way of investing now. Rather than just giving them money, we want them to bring in US businesses. If US businesses land in Somalia, they will automatically have a protection from the US than if they were just given money and told to go and get on with it. So actually what will happen, I think you'll see in the next 3 to 4 years, is an influx of money, probably from the US, that will give the security that the country needs. One well that finds 1 billion barrels, and it's got the security, I'm fairly sure. There's lots of acreage, there's lots of opportunity. You've heard of it from others today. I'm here to represent the SPA. The CEO of the SPA, whose name I think you mentioned earlier, Abdul Qadir Adir Mohammed, he's here with his assistant. If anyone wants to talk to him, come and find me. I'd be more than happy to make an introduction. I've already done that from Image, and I know 2 majors were talking with them today, and they both said, it's really not technical that we're concerned about. It's getting comfortable with the new politics and the new safety. There's no doubt once that's sorted out in our own minds, we'll be there. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your patience after 25 presentations. Enjoy the conference. Come and find us if you're looking for deals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to remind you, we have a booth outside, a Farmout booth, all of Farmout. The 3 of us, myself, Mike, Chris, will be around there. Feel free to come and talk to us. The drinks reception tonight is in the Grand Life Cafe, which is down in the waterfront, I think starting from 6:30, so I'll be heading down there. Fantastic. If any of you want to ask any questions, please feel free to come up and ask those. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.